Also special guest, Sweet Chilli. Ladies and gentlemen, Bad Guy Maddox is live. Tonight we got a special episode. You got myself, of course, Bad Guy Maddox. You got the Heartbreak Sid. We're doing a little thing. Sweet Chilli! We got a little thing it's something I want to try, similar to Bad Slayer Fridays. It's called Talking Heads. This is going to be a Twitch cast / Twitch game for all of you pro wrestling fans that we have. So we're still doing the Interactive Universe stuff as usual. I'll be running that. But we're going to do a Night of Champions preview. I'm going to wait for the chat to fill up a little bit with some of the usual faces and some of the some of the diehard pro wrestling fans. And then we can go ahead and discuss the Night of Champions card. Until then, Mr. Heartbreak, a lot of stuff I want to talk about pro wrestling wise with you. I want to pick your brain and hear some of your thoughts because I've been on my network grind today. I was gonna watch some One Piece before work. Crunchyroll was acting a fool, so I decided to get on the network. What's going on, Fast Boy? There was a show on the network, Greatest Factions of All Time, and of course they talked about your usual factions, the Four Horsemen, DX. I think Nexus actually had a nice little segment, and as did Straight Edge Society, which really caught me off guard because I thought Straight Edge Society had a very good segment on this Greatest Rivalries DVD. Because again, I like Straight Edge Society because CM Punk was one of my favorite wrestlers. Hey guys, hello everybody. Straight Edge Society, Punk's one of my favorite wrestlers, as you know. So I was really surprised to see them have a feature on the Stables DVD because that stable really they really shit on that stable a lot, to be honest. I feel like Straight Edge Society got done worse than the Nexus, personally.
And, you know, I would say they definitely did just the simple aspect of, I barely remember them.
Right.
I barely remember them. I barely remember anything about them as far as what they actually did. So for the sake of that, I definitely think it was good in terms of its originality compared to other things. Oh yes, I got it on the Chromecast.
Cool. Hell yeah. I'm gonna turn my volume up a little bit, and then we'll get it running. We already got a few pro wrestling fans in chat. We got Seth Rollins fans. We got Fast Boy. SJSK, I don't believe, is a pro wrestling fan, but he does like watching the stream. So, everybody, say hello to my boy, the Heartbreak Sid.
How's everybody doing?
Sweet Chilli.
Yeah, I was going to say, you may know me from such movies as Sweet Chilli. I love Sweet Chilli Wings Pizza Hut. That's where the reference comes from. Anybody who doesn't know.
Sweet Chilli! It's Sweet Chilli, Murderous Nibbler. It's my guy, Heartbreak Sid. Having basically tonight's goal of the stream, we are KO shirt. We are basically going to talk about Night of Champions as well as other pro wrestling things. Mr. Heartbreak, I don't know how long you want to stay on, but I'm staying on until like 3 in the morning. I'm going hard. So if you're down, if you're not going to fall asleep on me, I want to do this. If you're down.
Okay.
All right.
Shoot, let's go.
Let's go.
I doubt that I'll fall asleep like live. I doubt it, especially with these live.
Okay. So yeah, let me know if you get tired because I'm running the train. Can you guys hear Heartbreak Sid first off? Because I don't think I have my settings really configured correctly. So if you guys can hear him, please let me know. Mr. Heartbreak, please give us another Sweet Chilli yell real quick.
Sweet Chilli.
Alright, if you guys heard Sweet Chilli, give me, oh, hell yeah. I'm going to go ahead and pull that Stone Cold Steve Austin out. Alright, let's go ahead.
Yeah, man, hell
yeah. I'm going to go ahead and recap what happened to Night of Champions on the pay-per-view. If you don't have a character in the Interactive Universe, of course, you guys can go ahead and pick one. Okay, they can hear you. Yeah, that's Sweet Chilli. That's him. So Night of Champions was a pretty fun pay-per-view to watch for me. I need to raise it up more. They want me to raise up the volume a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It's gonna suck because I feel like WWE is gonna use a lot of the audio, so I need to configure that too. Because I don't want it. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. I gotta mess with settings. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't use. No, it's definitely using that. Let's see. Say something one more time. Something one more time. Alright, I feel like it's a little bit better now. Maybe not, I don't know. I need to go to the house and
Alright, so for those of y'all who don't know me,
デトネーションフォーカスにセロス選手、デトネーションフォーカスに
big video game fan, 90s baby of course,
ミステリー選手、
big WWE fan of course, that's why I'm in the chat tonight with you guys. We'll be chalking it up, talking wrestling. I love talking wrestling, I can go hours on about it. Hopefully I don't bore you all, don't look to do that. Got a lot of opinions and things that we're going to talk about tonight. Ed's going to lead it for y'all. Maddox.
Yeah, I got Maddox. Alright, I want to go ahead and recap Night of Champions. I did turn off the sound on the game. There is no sound. That way you can hear us talk about our, do our thing. What's the WTF for Murderous Nibbler? There's no sound in the game. That way you can, like, read some of these results. And Seth Rollins fans, I'm very sorry that, your friend passed away. That's something weird. It's probably someone singing. There's someone in the background of my house singing. I know that's what you hear. So, some anime shit in the background. Maybe that's not someone singing. I don't have anything playing this time. Oh, yes, I do. I have Twitch playing. Tokyo Game Show. Alright, that's it. I always have stuff playing in the background. I'm terrible about that. It's over. There's no sounds in the background anymore. Yeah, there's someone singing in the background, too. That woman is singing. So, me and Heartbreak Sid, Bad Guy Maddox, Heartbreak Sid, we're here tonight, gonna do some pay-per-view preview, gonna talk pro wrestling. I want to go back before let me do the Interactive Universe thing first, and I want to talk about that Stable DVD, and I want to get your input on that. So, basically, Night of Champions was a really interesting pay-per-view, because a lot of really weird things happened. Oh, what's going on, Makers? How you doing? First off, Big E and Lil Lynn lost their tag team titles to Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Then you had Chris Jericho win the Intercontinental Championship in a Fatal 4-Way. He took it off Kevin Owens. Summer Rae, I think she has the longest title run going right now in the game. I'm pretty sure she's been Divas Champion for 2 years. I need to double check. John Cena retained the United States title over Seth Rollins. And Brock Lesnar won the WWE Championship off Roman Reigns. Tyler Breeze won the Money in the Bank briefcase from Dean Ambrose. And Tyson Kidd defeated Damian Sandow for the World Heavyweight Championship. But Shane used his Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in as Randy Orton. So Randy Orton cashed in. Yeah, one of my viewers, Shane. Shane cashed in on Tyson Kidd. Shane, as Randy Orton, is the World Heavyweight Champion. So it was fun. It was a really fun chat. It was a really fun pay-per-view. It was really interesting. So that's what we're getting into as far as the pay-per-view goes. Now back to the pro wrestling conversation. Greatest stables. Who do you have? And it doesn't have to be WWE by itself. If you have another stable like that you want to talk about, because I know that you've watched a lot of pro wrestling. You and I, we are pretty well educated as far as pro wrestling goes. So what are your stables?
Okay, forgive me, those who are watching, as well as you. When it comes to like stables and tag teams, I feel I'm at a disadvantage. Only because, I think, in my opinion, even though I didn't really get to witness a lot of it, I would honestly say that I think more so of the 80s and the mid-90s in terms of actual stables, I think that was a better time for such. And I think over the years it just gradually dwindled down.
Right.
I don't know who was all in the top 25. I'd imagine, though, that most of those teams did comprise of 80s and early 90s stuff, to which I missed a lot of them, quite few, some of the most well-known and greatest, such as Horsemen and, Mega Powers and other things like that I wasn't necessarily watching at the time. Either way, I will say I'm hoping that they really did not just do the typical commercial WWE teams and put all everybody's favorites, but actually put some really great stables in there. For example, some people might pick Brothers of Destruction or even Rock and Sock Connection as greatest stables. And I don't know if I feel like those are some of the greatest stables in the sense of really actually great stables that may have brought good moments and matches. You know what I'm saying? Because like Rock and Sock Connection, I like that stable because I am a Rock fan. By the way, number 1, number 2, Triple H. No, those are not popular. Well, no, Triple H ain't a popular option. But yeah, that's pretty much my feeling. So I don't want a bunch of, half-baked teams like Brothers of Destruction who are more like alliances that may have came together here and there. I want more of those real, stables like Horsemen groups and, your Edge and Christians. As long as, what's it called? The Brood? Or whatever it was called.
Oh,
as long as that didn't make it on
the
there.
Brood. The Brood had...
The ministry maker.
I've not completed the entire viewing, so I got halfway through it. So from what I remember, the very first team they talked about was DX. No surprise there. That's like one of WWE's like staple products. And then from DX, they went into the Nexus, which I was really shocked. They really, I agree with Ryback. A stable to me is 3 or more. I wouldn't say more than 3 because I consider the Shield. They were a 3-man stable. I consider that a stable. But so the faction DVD started off with DX. You had DX as the first team they talked about. And then it went to the Nexus. And the Nexus, again, they had a pretty good feature. Then it went to the Straight Edge Society. And then it went to Evolution. And I feel like Evolution gets overlooked a lot. Well, maybe not. Maybe people do have Evolution in the list. Evolution was a great stable. It was WWE's version of the Four Horsemen. And I was a mark back then. I didn't really feed into a lot of the backstage politics. I didn't really, I knew wrestling was fake, but I still bought into a guy's character. I still ate that shit up. And I thought they were a really effective heel stable because I wanted someone to kick their ass almost every Sunday. Or almost every Monday, rather.
Spectacles.
I have them on my list for sure. They're, to me, one of the best stables WWE has ever produced. I think Evolution's better than DX personally.
I can,
Murder says Spirit Squad.
In terms of stables, if we're being serious about how we look at a stable versus tag team versus alliance, I definitely agree with you. Evolution definitely deserves to be talked about in there. Definitely. That is definitely what I would call a stable as well. Yeah, 3 or more people definitely a stable. Let's see who. Nexus. I don't know about Nexus.
Nexus started off hot for sure.
I have to. Oh, definitely. I'd have to watch what all came with that because I definitely remember Nexus like the back of my neck, and I just don't know. I don't know. I felt like they were just like, it was so many of them. Like, do I call that a stable? That's like a gang. I don't know. That's like a club. I mean, it's just so many. It was so many of them. I know the Shield had to have been in there somewhere.
Shield. Shield. Go ahead.
You said Shield came. I think you said something about they mentioned DX and then they mentioned Nexus. Was this an order of a countdown or was this just like a?
It wasn't a countdown as much as it was just an expose on stables. And Seth Rollins fan, I will be probably streaming after Night of Champions. Don't hold me to it though. I'm gonna be really busy that day, so I don't know if I'll be on. I would love to do a post pay-per-view conversation, but I can't guarantee it. The people who fought Rhino and Baron Corbin, Tyler Breeze, and Bo Dempsey should get contracts. I think Tommaso Ciampa was one of them, or Tommaso Ciampa. He's a really great wrestler. He wrestles in Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. A very sturdy, very tough, no joke, in-your-face, aggressive wrestler. And the other guy is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, period. Johnny Gargano, the Cat's Meow, the Hertz Donut, the whole shebang. One of the greatest wrestlers going right now in the indies. If you have not watched the Johnny Gargano match, watch him in Dragon Gate USA. I don't think he's the Dragon Gate champion anymore. But from 2013 until 2014, when he was running running as Dragon Gate champion, which I think was Open the Freedom Gate. Oh my God, he was amazing. Fantastic worker. God, phenomenal wrestler. I'm glad to see he's finally getting his justice in the main event scene. Currently, I'm a mark for the Cosmic Wasteland stable right now. Roddy, you know my reaction about the Cosmic Wasteland. I've been a big fan of them. Where did he turn off his webcam, didn't he? I guess I gotta wait for him to get back online. He just vanished. Oh, he's back with glasses. I gotta uncrop your camera. Cause you keep, I'm only getting half your face.
Maybe this will help too.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
What had happened was I was looking at your avatar. As I can see it on the computer, it's a static image.
Right.
And I was like, so how do I get the static image? That's really what I was thinking. But, the stables. Was that on the network?
It is. I got on the, like I said, I was watching One Piece and Crunchyroll was on one. It just would not work. So I turned off Crunchyroll and got on the network, and it was on its live stream. And I was like, damn, I got an hour and a half before work. Let me just pop this in and watch it. And it wasn't bad. I mean, they also played a match from each stable. The Straight Edge Society was really whack because the Straight Edge Society had a really good showcase, and they did a good job at talking about the guys in that stable and how they came together. And then they showed their match at SummerSlam where Big Show pretty much squashed them in a 3-on-1. And I thought that was dumb as hell because Evolution's little Evolution's feature, they ran train. All right, Ryback Rose wants Corey Graves, and Jay Mercury wants Enzo Amore. I can definitely make those things happen. That's no problem at all. Wait, what are you guys playing? What kind of match? We're doing Interactive Universe, so it's kind of like a role-playing game of sorts, where essentially you have a character, you can interact with other wrestlers in the chat, and I put matches together in the game. Give me a second to pull up my Microsoft Word so I can see who the hell is in this, who the hell wrestles for what brand and who's taken before I commit to giving you guys who you say you want. I'm also going to do Del Rio versus Batista just because both guys need a showcase.
Can I get a 2-minute? Can I go on a 2-minute rant on Alberto Del Rio real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about. Go ahead and give me your. First off, do you like Del Rio? I think that should be the first question. Okay.
Yes.
Because I didn't know what direction this rant was gonna go. But go ahead, talk about Del Rio for me.
I like Del Rio. A lot of people gave him crap back when he was on the product. I thought for the most part he was solid. Some people didn't like him, but I really think overall I hated the situation to which he had to leave.
Yes.
And I think he in the sense of what was going on in WWE at the time, he definitely was a tool to be utilized. And today, as far as kind of a bad guy, even though I know he was more so clean before he left, I think right now there's missing that other bad guy that you need to have heel-wise. And that was one of those people that could easily just always be the bad guy, and you could throw someone in a feud with.
Right.
But you don't have that anymore. Which is really leading on to some of the other things that we were probably going to talk about today. But these matches for tomorrow night.
We're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. I do want to hold off a little bit before we talk about Night of Champions. I want to get the chat going. Want to get them stimulated, and I also got to address a couple of things. Seth Rollins, you cannot have Dean Ambrose because Dean Ambrose is taken. And no, wait, Dean Ambrose is not taken, but you already have Kevin Owens. So I'm not going to let you switch. Roddy, I thought you were playing as Samoa Joe. And everyone else is fine. I didn't give you guys matches, mainly because I can't get you guys figured in. But you will have a match tonight before I stop streaming. I promise. And so go back to this Del Rio thing. You think that they needed him because he was... A lot of people found him boring, and I didn't get that because I always felt like Del Rio... I'm not going to compare him to Bret Hart. But what I'm going to say is... I know you make that face when I say that.
Hey, I'm not the biggest Bret Hart fan, but I thought that was interesting, though, that you... I never would have guessed that to be what you were going to say.
I don't want to compare him to Bret Hart, but how I feel about Del Rio and I want to know how the chat feels about Del Rio too before, when I say this. I feel like Del Rio could work with any guy in WWE and make them look good. He had
I agree.
Okay, see, I'm glad because that's every time I saw Del Rio, I always said, man, I see Bret Hart in Del Rio. But I didn't mean he was Bret Hart. What I mean is Bret Hart was another guy. Bret Hart literally could wrestle anyone in WWF in the early 90s, and he could make them look like $1 million. And I thought Del Rio, maybe not $1 million necessarily, but within the parameters of WWE as a modern show, his matches were watchable. He might not have had the most interesting or fascinating character on TV, but his matches were enjoyable. And I mean, especially his matches with RVD during when he was World Heavyweight Champion, and he and RVD had a couple of matches. And then his match with Christian at SummerSlam 2013, that was a damn good match too. So I've always been a fan of Del Rio. I just, I don't know where a lot of people got that the boring thing from.
I don't either. But my buddy that you know of, not gonna mention his name, but he was one of those people. I think boring. Boring is one of those weird words, I think, in terms of wrestling. When it comes to characters and stuff. I oftentimes when I have a problem with WWE or something's good and or bad, for the most part, I credit it to WWE and creative because that's how much they influence what the actual product will be. And I think a lot of people often get that confused. I mean, for the most part, and it took me a long time to get to this point, but these are actors and actresses for the most part. They take bumps, they do their own stunts. But at the end of the day, what's to be understood is that WWE will ultimately make you or break you at any time that they deem fit.
Right.
And a lot of times it's clearly out of carelessness because, they don't know what they're doing. I actually liked Alberto Del Rio. I was one of the few people who liked him. Like I was actually telling someone at work the other day, my guy, he's been my guy for a while.
Oh boy.
A lot of people shit on him. And I'm going to say it, you might be a fan of him or you might hate him. Because he rubs people one of two ways. But Jack motherfucking Swagger.
Oh God! I thought you were going to say Dolph Ziggler until you said you either love him or hate him. Before we get into the Swagger talk, I gotta go and acknowledge Legend of FX has joined the Bad Guy Club. As the newest member of the Bad Guy Club, you receive a welcoming package, and it's going to contain a switchblade, a pair of sunglasses, and a leather jacket. So thank you for hitting the follow button. Welcome to the club, and remember to stay bad, because being bad is fun. Also going to chat, Seth Rollins fan, you're Kevin Owens. You picked him last week, so you can't switch to Dean Ambrose. Ryback rules, I'm going to switch you to AJ Styles, because I don't remember that happening, but that's okay with me. You can be AJ Styles. And there's a talk about Hills in the chat right now, which I think is going to lead perfectly into Jack Swagger, so I'll let you take the floor again after I read a couple of responses. Seth Rollins fan said he thought Del Rio was a great heel. He thought he was a great champion heel. He particularly liked him in the CM Punk John Cena feud. And Ryback Rules says Rated R Superstar Edge, Randy Orton, Piper, Shawn Michaels. Again, I think those were Shawn Michaels in 92-93, one of the best heels at that time. And Jay Mercury. He says Kevin Owens will probably be his favorite heel for a while. And I am down with that. So, Jack Swagger, really, that's super fascinating to me. Because, of all of the wrestlers you could pick, I just don't hear a lot of people... Oh, Roddy, I'm sorry. Yeah, Roddy's AJ Styles. My bad, man. Not Ryback Rules, Roddy. Roddy's AJ Styles. Ryback Rules, you're Corey Graves. I got you already in the system. I got you, dog. But... I can't let this drop. Jack Swagger? I don't hate Jack Swagger. I want to go ahead and say that. I thought that they did a terrible job with Jack Swagger because he was catching on big time as a face in that Rusev feud. And they never gave him his win over Rusev. And I thought he should have gotten a win over Rusev. And I love Rusev too. But I thought Swagger should have gotten a win over Rusev. And it would have blown the roof off the place. And not only did he not beat Rusev, they never capitalized on him turning face. He went like he started wrestling on Superstars. I don't get it.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but man, Jack Swagger is one of those guys I've been rocking with for a long time. And the thing is, WWE, they gave him a little bit of glimpse of moments. I was talking about a lot of guys who have been on the roster right now, who have been just on the roster, occupying space for years now. Not people who've been there necessarily as long as Cena, but your Dolph Ziggler's, your Jack Swagger's, your Cody Rhodes, your people who've been roughly in the company for about 6 to 8 years now.
Right.
These are those guys, the Kofi Kingstons, the Tyson Kids, the Wade Barretts, who you wonder after this long point of time, what's really going on with them? And they finally, after they have ruined Jack or tore him apart for so long, they finally gave him one of the essential pieces he needed. They gave him talking piece.
Yes.
Their culture. That was the start. I was like, okay, they're about to do something. When they put that guy with him, I was like, oh yeah, he's about to go places because now he don't have to speak. Now he ain't got to speak. And damn it, he can wrestle. So you can't say shit about his wrestling ability. He has a mouthpiece, so now he don't have to talk. So you really can't even say nothing about his talking. Now, where it comes in places, you have to put this guy. Yeah, I know, Seth Rollins fan. A lot of people didn't like him, but the thing was about him. And I say this to some of the other people that WWE's picked up over the years. There aren't too many guys who there aren't too many guys that come into WWE that you don't like that also are talentless.
Right.
Okay. Jack Swagger, you could not like him all you want to. But damn it, he's a good wrestler. And if you give him a talking piece like Zed Coulter, overall as a package, he can be great. Remember, Brock isn't the best talker at all. Nor is he the best wrestler. And he's more of a, fashion kind of guy. But still, it works.
One thing
You don't need to talk, and because he's got a great little gimmick, not even gimmick, a great enigma that comes with it. He's the beast incarnate.
One thing I'll say about Jack Swagger, I'm going to go ahead and plug the network real quick. There's a really great match Swagger has. There are a couple of them, actually. The one match I'm going to recommend as far as, because you said Swagger's not, he's a good wrestler, and people do try to shit on Swagger as being a terrible worker, and I've never seen that. I've always thought he was a really good worker. One of my favorite matches back in 2008, I think it was Royal Rumble 2008 or Royal Rumble 2009. Pretty sure it was 08. It was Swagger versus Matt Hardy for the ECW Championship. An outstanding match. It's honestly probably Matt Hardy. It's probably my favorite Matt Hardy and Jack Swagger match. Period. And I'm not a huge Matt Hardy fan either. I liked him in the tag team, but I certainly like Jeff Hardy more than I like Matt Hardy. But I was watching that match. I ordered that pay-per-view when it came on live. Had my pizza. Because when I'm ordering a Royal Rumble, gotta have my pizza. I'm eating my pizza, and that match comes on. And I just remember, eating the slice. I'm like, holy shit, this is a really good match. I had to put my pizza down. I sat down, and I just watched it. I was like, these guys are telling a story. And they even, I think it ended up going on, because WWE did a best matches of that year list on .com. I think it got put on that list, I'm pretty sure, because I was like, wow, I'm not the only one who really liked that match. So if you guys have not watched it, if you have the network, do yourself a favor, pop in that Royal Rumble. It was the Royal Rumble that Randy Orton won when he had the Legacy help him. Watch that match. I think it's the first match of the pay-per-view. It's a good 11, 12, maybe 13-minute match. It's fantastic. It is a fantastic match.
Okay.
So that's my Swagger match.
What was I going to say? Yes, Cody Rhodes is great. He's really stepped it up as far as an entertainer over the years with his gimmicks. Dashing Cody Rhodes was great. Putting the bags over people's heads.
That was great.
Stardust. That was the beginning. And as he's so much further in the company. It has gotten so much better. Cody Rhodes is definitely, maybe Goldust was giving him some gimmick notes or something. I don't know. I'm imagining that's where it came from. Because, you know, you can say what you want to about Goldust. One thing he know how to do is work a gimmick. And Cody was studying those notes for years. What else? Yeah, Cody Rhodes, Cesaro. I mean, think about it like this. You remember Cesaro and Kid as their tag team?
That was a great tag team.
Definitely. And I feel like, in a way, not exactly, but in a way, that's kind of what I think Cesaro and Swagger was supposed to be. I don't know exactly how it would have worked out. Could you imagine Jack Swagger and Tyson Kidd on a team? They'd probably be putting a clinic.
I would be dead. How about, do you remember this tag team? Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd? Back when they were the International Airstrike or whatever? That was a good tag. They only wrestled on Superstars. But it was a good tag team. They had a really good chemistry. I can't believe
I didn't know he was the Bunny.
You didn't know he was the Bunny?
I did not know Justin Gabriel was the Bunny.
Did you hear his story about the Bunny? Did you hear the gimmick ideas?
That's why I was like, man. When I was like, ooh. I was like, okay. You know, that unfortunate. Luckily, John Morrison got out before he ultimately Dolph Ziggler did.
Did I tell you? I've not told you this story. 2011, 2010. Corey Graves is on SmackDown. So he'll show up on the SmackDown show. 2011, 2010. This is when I thought I knew where WWE was going. And I literally knew what they were planning. You couldn't tell me they weren't planning this. And I remember being so heartbroken because you brought up John Morrison. John Morrison was my absolute favorite wrestler at that time. So Miz had the title. Miz did the cash in. He won it at Monday Night Raw. We'll talk about the Bunny here in a second. It's a really interesting story. Miz had the title. He cashed it on Randy Orton. I was happy then because, again, from 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, The Miz was the best heel they had in the company. He knew how to work the crowd. He wasn't necessarily the best wrestler, but he was good. He was watchable.
That is. He can still do it.
He can still work the... Dude, he got Damian Sandow over. He got Sandow over. Miz is one of the best heels in the company, but at that point, he was the guy, in my opinion. Like, everyone thought I was crazy because they're like, who do you think's the future of WWE? I'm like, you guys are saying this guy is. You guys are saying that guy is. It's The Miz. How is it not The Miz? Like, this guy's killing it every night. Oh my God, The Miz is trash. He's an MTV washout. No, this guy's killing it. So he wins he and Morrison break up. They go their separate ways. He cashes in on Orton, wins the title. I'm thinking Royal Rumble's coming up. I'm like, holy shit. Morrison's winning the Rumble. And they're going to do Miz and Morrison at WrestleMania. And, like, you can't convince me they're not doing it. Like, I'm like, because I see it. Like, even the way they're building John Morrison up, I'm like, this guy's going to Mania. I was like, this is going to be a really interesting Mania because Cena and Orton, neither one of those guys, it's going to be Miz and Morrison. This is like the mark of a new era. This is crazy. Royal Rumble comes up and they tease the elimination where he grabs I was cussing, dog. And then he grabbed the barricade and I stood up because I was with Cody and everyone. I was like, oh, he's still in! He's winning! Morrison's winning! He's gonna win! He gets back in the ring, wrestles for like 5 more minutes, and gets eliminated. I was heartbroken the rest of the night. Had nothing to say the rest of the night, and then Del Rio won. And then my excitement came back because I didn't think Del Rio was gonna win. But yeah, I thought like that WrestleMania I had all written out. I had a notebook. I had it all written out. And it wasn't fantasy booking. It was me literally thinking this is where WWE is going with these storylines. So when Royal Rumble happened, I had Wade Barrett versus Undertaker because I thought that was going to be the guy who would go after the undefeated streak. I had, because of the Nexus burying Undertaker alive and all that shit, I had Miz and John Morrison. I think I had Sheamus and Daniel Bryan, which I think they did wrestle anyway. I think I had Triple H and John Cena for the SmackDown title. I don't even remember how I got to that conclusion. But for some reason, I felt like that Triple H was going to come back, take the title off of Edge. Or someone was going to beat Edge, and Triple H was going to take the title off of him. And then it was going to be Triple H and Cena, too. and that was going to be what was going to sell the pay-per-view. But Miz and Morrison were going to have a title match on the pay-per-view. When that pay-per-view came around, it was so different, like, from what I had expected to happen. Because I think Del Rio and Edge opened the pay-per-view with a title match. And then you had Cena and Miz. And honestly, that Cena and Miz match was terrible. Because they had Miz play backseat to The Rock. And I love The Rock, but, like, The Miz was treated as an afterthought. It was literally The Rock versus Cena with Miz kind of being an obstacle.
But what made it so great was Miz. Because that whole time, there was the exchange of words, Miz playing up his gimmick, playing to the crowd, comes out as The Rock. That whole time, he would not let neither of the two of them outshine him within that whole storyline. And between me and you, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Miz's favorite superstar is The Rock. And he always wanted to have a match with him. He got his match. It wasn't one-on-one. He got his match.
That's right, Miz and Truth against Cena and Rock in the tag team match of Survivor Series, which happened that year.
I mentioned that somebody actually mentioned something about it in the chat, and that was the beginning. But I will say, Miz and Truth, when they were doing what they were doing,
that was a great tag. They were great. I remember someone, and I don't mean to cut you off, but someone had complained, because remember when they hijacked one of the pay-per-views after they had been fired? I remember someone complaining saying, LOL, the Miz, and people are afraid of Miz and R-Truth, what a joke. And I'm like, holy shit, it's not that it's the Miz and R-Truth, it's the fact that these guys got fired, don't give a shit, still got in the arena, tearing shit up, like, that's a good anyone. Like, that was good, and they played it well. Making YouTube videos saying they don't care what Triple H is doing. It was very believable. And I think R-Truth getting busted for steroids or something. He got popped for something, because he got suspended shortly after. That suspension messed that up. Because The Miz kind of got derailed after that. I think he actually had a main event match with CM Punk a little bit afterward, but man, it was, gosh. They could have got more mileage out of The Miz during his title run, too. I don't care what anyone says. Y'all can argue. Y'all can argue with me about that. I'll argue with anyone in chat. Miz could have got another good 4 to 5 months. They could have got another good 4 to 5 months out of Miz being champion. What's up, Kenny Andrews? Nathan, I do Divas. People aren't really super huge fans of the Divas, though, so I tend to not use them that often. But, I mean, if people want to do Divas matches, if people want to play as Divas, they'll get in the match more often.
There was something that came up earlier. As far as my fandom goes for WWE and stuff, as far as about me, I'm more of a pro WWE guy. I grew up WWE, and I wouldn't watch anything that wasn't. So I wasn't a WCW person growing up. Just because I was loyal to WWE, because that's what I came across, that's what I watched first. I actually started watching wrestling because my grandmother. That was something that we mainly did. You know, my siblings and them, they watched, you know, back in the 80s, and they even watched during the Attitude Era. But it was me and my grandmother who we would watch it. And, you know, her favorite superstars, her two favorite wrestlers of all time, and this is also part of how I keep her in memory, is her two favorite superstars of all time was Andre the Giant and The Rock. And when talking about giants and stuff, I guess because I also like the gimmicks of I liked who Andre the Giant was, and I also like the gimmick of who The Rock became.
Right.
The Rock is always my favorite, but as far as giants go, Andre the Giant will always be my favorite. And I'm one of those people, as far as like those kind of people, like Andre the Giant, I will not put no other giant over him. Period.
Not even the Big Show.
No.
No.
No, because not only did I not grow up watching the Big Show because he was on a different product at that time, I really didn't like the Big Show. Overall, I've never really liked the Big Show. As a kid, I always remember, you know, I was still growing up during the time when The Rock and Big Show were feud. Because they had a decent, for a minute, they were going
They did, back with Shane. I do got one question to ask you. I'm going to direct this question to you. It's a chat question. Seth Rollins. And I want to know what you think. I am going to save my answer. I'm really interested in your opinion because you're kind of like, you're not the biggest Seth Rollins fan, which makes for an interesting conversation. Seth Rollins says, do you think that Seth Rollins is going to have a push like The Miz? Like winning the Money in the Bank and winning the belt, and then he's going to be like Miz right now where he's not doing anything. Where do you see Seth Rollins going? You already know my opinion. I think he's going to beat CM Punk's title reign. I think he's going to have a 434 plus day run. What do you think?
Okay, let me start by saying, let me get the chat and see if I can pull up the question that was asked earlier. Also, you know, with it being two of us and everybody being wrestling fans, if a question doesn't get answered, I'm sorry on my part, or if we don't acknowledge something, because I know someone asked something about Seth Rollins way earlier. I don't remember which one of you was, but I'm actually looking for it right now so I can find it, because I wanted to chime in on it in relation to Seth Rollins. I don't remember which one of y'all asked, but someone asked what we thought about Seth Rollins using the pedigree. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to continue on into Seth Rollins.
All right, let me address some of these other questions in chat real quick. How would you feel if Kane or Eric Rowan were the third person in the show? I told you, Heartbreak, it's either going to be Kane or it's going to be The Rock. And, oh, wait, I forgot to mention this. I forgot to even mention this. Someone had suggested Brock Lesnar being the third guy. And I was like, that's dumb. And then after I stopped and like walked away and thought about it, I was like, wait, they did mention Monster. Brock does have a date. He's supposed to be on the show again this month. And he's a face now. Why wouldn't Brock work? Brock would be a really good choice. So I think that's and honestly, it's a free month. Crowd's gonna pop if Brock shows up. It's gonna go through the roof. So I think Brock's a good option. I think it's going to be Brock, The Rock, or Kane. Those are my three picks. I'm leaning toward Brock Lesnar right now. Let's see, and let me see if there are some other ones. Maddox, do you think Bullet Club would ever come to WWE? I've answered this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I don't. Main reason being, first off, the way Bullet Club works in NJPW, it wouldn't work in WWE. And I don't mean to be hypercritical of WWE, because if you guys don't know, NJPW is my favorite pro wrestling promotion. I do like it more than WWE, and I do watch it very actively. I don't think WWE could adequately book Bullet Club, and I don't think it would work with an American audience. The reason why Bullet Club is so cool is because it works with the Japanese audience. Japanese wrestling doesn't have heels who cheat, or heels who use numbers, or heels who cut like ridiculously over the top promos, and that's what they're doing. They're basically bringing American gimmicks to Japanese pro wrestling, and it works. It'd be a lot different in WWE. It wouldn't work. And then the final question: do you remember R-Truth versus Cena at Capital Punishment? Yes, and I thought R-Truth should have won the title that night. However, if I knew that the next pay-per-view was going to be CM Punk versus Cena, I wouldn't have been upset about Cena beating R-Truth that night. And that, I think, is everything from me. So, Sweet Chilli Man is what Murderous Nibbler's calling you. He has a question for you. Go ahead, let's start with the Seth Rollins stuff, and then Murderous Nibbler asks your views on Lucha Dragons. Will they ever be over? And the Devil's Revolution.
I will address that. Definitely, I will address that. Seth Rollins, I didn't even cut you off. Bad with that. Seth Rollins, pedigree. No. But I don't think Seth Rollins should have the pedigree. Honestly, his move was... curve stomp was so perfect for him. And for the most part, it was being sold correctly by most of the superstars. Not going to name any names of who weren't selling it right. But it was the right move for the right type of person that they were billing him to be. I could see a coward doing something like a curb stomp. Not necessarily a pedigree. But I also think that they could have given him any other move to do. I also think that there is an underlying reason for that pedigree, which may fuel this Triple H Seth Rollins thing that is supposed to happen. Not to venture off topic, but damn it, I would have loved to have seen Seth Rollins and Edge go back and forth.
Oh my God!
Votes. They would have rated. I don't know if they could have. I don't know if they could have did it with the version of Edge that is best, rated R, superstar, heel Edge. I don't know heel Edge, whether it was John Cena or after Edge. I don't know if they would have been able to put those two against each other, because honestly, I don't think Seth Rollins can be a face. It's going to be a while before we get a good Seth Rollins in a face position, because I just don't know. Not only does he not really have a face look by nature, I just don't know if he could really pull that off right now. I'm not the biggest Seth Rollins fan, but I do appreciate his work and his character that he has brought to WWE. However, I'm still often questioning, ever since the Shield as a group came in, is it being ran correctly? Is the right member of the Shield in the right position? Should that be Reigns and Rollins' position? Or should that be Ambrose? I don't know. And I wonder what's going to become of Dean Ambrose, because he's the only one of the Shield members who 2 years ago you could have definitely said WWE has a plan for this guy, but now you don't know.
You don't feel like they do?
He has a plan for Dean Ambrose. In fact, they want him to cut back some of his wrestling because they feel he's too hard on himself, which I definitely can understand where they're coming from. But I also think that messes with the gimmick of him being this lunatic fringe. But for the sake of Seth Rollins, I'm interested to see how they keep this going past 434. Not saying that's impossible, but damn, they're going to have to keep me interested, you interested, and they're going to have people for him to face to keep this gimmick going. Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens with it. Sweet Chilli, man, who would you want the Undertaker to have his last match? And it can't be Sting. With what WrestleMania would you want him to stop and retire?
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna answer this, and then Ed, I'm gonna pass it on to you because there's some questions for you, as well as there's some stuff that you want to get in, and there's something about El Matador's Primo and Epic Co. I'm gonna answer that real quick because that's a quick one. Primo and Epico, to be honest with you, the way the tag team division is set up, El Matadors can't go anywhere. There's also a conflict of interest with the Lucha Dragons. So that's another issue within an issue. Will they get unmasked? I don't know. I'm tired of the bull. Los Matadors really ain't getting no anything, unfortunately.
Los Matadores don't need to get anything. Lucha Dragons, if we're going to talk about those two teams, Lucha Dragons certainly ahead of Los Matadores.
No, yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that basically that's the conflict of interest right there. And yeah, as far as the Lucha Dragons go, I'm still watching them. I'm still trying to get into them. Murderous Nibbler. I definitely like them way much more than Los Matadors or Primo and Epico. Honestly, at this point, Primo and Epico should just go back to being Primo and Epico and basically taking the spot of what the Usos had until the other Uso comes back. So there's that. And real quick on Undertaker. Go ahead, do it, because I love it.
What, Oos?
Yeah, do it.
Why?
Somebody go ahead with it.
No. I was just saying, Oos. Have you watched SmackDown since he's been on commentary?
No.
He just randomly says Oos at the end of his sentences. Yeah. He'll say something and he'll be like, man, he just got in the ring, Oos. And then I don't know why. I haven't figured out why he says it.
Also, I do also want to apologize if I happen to be missing some of your questions, or Ed do, because this is the first time that me and him have done this together also in the stream. So this is a little bit new for me. in terms of what I'm doing right here, right now on Twitch. So I do apologize for that, everybody. I apologize if you can't hear me that well as well. I'm going to get on the Undertaker thing, and then I'm going to pass it on to Ed. Retire the damn Cena stunner. Let me get on that. Undertaker match. I've been saying this for years because, and Undertaker fans, if you are in the chat, don't take this as disrespect, but The Undertaker doesn't really do anything for me. That does not mean I don't like him. That does not mean he isn't a good worker. That does not mean he hasn't paid his dues. He certainly does. But I'm neutral on The Undertaker. Furthermore, I definitely would have liked, should have been, I wanted Undertaker to retire at 20-0, just so we're clear. Retire at a number that makes sense. 20-0, that last match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels being the referee, end of the era should have been the end of the era. CM Punk didn't need to happen. Bray Wyatt didn't need to happen. The streak didn't have to end. Because now, I most definitely don't really want to see Undertaker in a wrestling match. Unless it is
Seven Wags, what's up, brother? I went to the lake and saw these guys. They were Samoan, and they had the same and I almost asked them for a picture. Now Murder Snibbler's doing the loose thing. So we know that you don't buy into the Undertaker hype. Can we say that? You don't buy into the Undertaker hype. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Maddox. I don't.
So you don't buy into the Undertaker hype. That's fine. I'm not an Undertaker fan. There's no secret there. A lot of people get surprised when I say that. But do you think Bray Wyatt should have won that match at this WrestleMania?
No.
No?
And I have a specific reason why. Unfortunately, no, because he shouldn't have been facing The Undertaker. And because if you were going to have Bray Wyatt to win it, I think Bray Wyatt would have needed to have been a little bit further in his career to be that person and be accepted as that person without the fans ultimately shitting on him and his career. Would I have liked it or had a problem with it? Nope. But as far as best for business goes, as they say, I don't think it would have been best for business.
Wow, you just quoted, you just did a Triple H quote, man.
I had to.
Why did you? You didn't have to do that.
I like Triple H, but I mean, I had to just because, man. Like I said, I wouldn't have mind Bray winning. I was rooting for Bray. I think I said Bray because I like what you said about the. I like what you said about the about that possible of the whole Bray Wyatt using the lantern.
Oh my god, dude! I had all kinds of shit. I had all kinds of shit. Let me tell you about this Bray Wyatt idea that I had. So this is where once I came with this idea of saying if Bray Wyatt doesn't win WrestleMania, I'm going to be disappointed. And then we still need to talk about the bunny too. The Bray Wyatt thing was essentially an idea that I had because Bray Wyatt was calling himself the new face of fear. So I thought that this was going to be The Undertaker's last match. So the idea that I had come up with was Bray Wyatt beats The Undertaker. The lights go out, and you have not necessarily a hologram. Yeah, maybe a hologram. You have like this illuminated hologram of The Undertaker. And it's more or less The Undertaker's soul. And Bray Wyatt takes the lantern that he has, and he holds it up. And the soul gets absorbed into the lantern, and the lantern lights up the arena. And Bray Wyatt, he's laughing. He walks out of the arena while this light flickers on and off with it being bright as hell. And essentially, it's it symbolizes Bray Wyatt taking the Undertaker's soul. And not only that, Bray Wyatt has now taken the Undertaker's position in the company as the guy, the scary guy, the face of fear, the guy that everyone's supposed to be afraid of. I thought that would have been great. I was really disappointed. Not only was I disappointed in the match outcome, I was disappointed in the match, but I didn't know that Bray Wyatt had injured himself before the match started. So that was the. Once I understood that, I was like, well, damn, I guess I can't be mad at this match not being that great. But yeah, I thought that would have been a really cool ending to the match, and it would have been creepy. It would have been really creepy, and it would have given Bray Wyatt a new edge. It would have given him a new sense of direction, and it certainly would have given him a a better character. So yeah, I was really down with that. I was really down with that idea. And we need to talk about the bunny at some point because someone was asking about it.
Why don't you talk about it now?
You want to talk about it now? I want you to correct me because I don't remember the full details because it's been a while since I've read this article. Okay. Bray Wyatt rolled his ankle like an hour or two before WrestleMania started, Murderous, and was like, you could tell he was obviously limping on his way to the ring. Which I didn't, like I said, I didn't know that until someone told me, and then I read an article on it, and then when I went back and watched the match, I was like, you could definitely see he's favoring that ankle. Anyway, the bunny for everyone, and I actually kind of like this idea. Justin Gabriel went on a radio show, and he pretty much revealed that he was the bunny, but then he said that he had some ideas for the bunny that they were going to do, and WWE was all for, and then they just like nixed it last second. Essentially, the bunny was starting off like it did, getting involved in Adam Rose matches, kind of getting crowd pops, kind of like messing with Adam Rose. But then, as the weeks went on, apparently the bunny was going to get more sinister, kind of like the rabbit from Donnie Darko. It was going to like kind of be like a mental infestation of Adam Rose's head. And it was going to convince Adam Rose to do terrible things. And there were also going to be, like, segments and montages where, like, the bunny was smoking and, like, just doing all kinds of, like, socially negative things. And it was, like, eventually it was going to go to, like, a weird limit. It was going to push a weird limit that was going to finalize with the bunny waking up in a backstage area. It was going to take the hat off. It was going to be Vince McMahon underneath the fucking rabbit hood. And then Vince was going to be like, how the hell did I get in this suit? And then he was just going to walk off. And I would have been like, and they said this was going to be like a 3-month thing. And I was like, holy shit, that would have been really cool. But yeah, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. So, oh well. And Justin Gabriel no longer wrestles for WWE either as a result. Or not as a result, but he also doesn't wrestle for the company anymore. So, oh well. That was a really cool idea, I thought.
Which, to add to that, Sweet Chilli, man, how would you plan the Nexus takeover and then, ooh, that's a
really good question. That's a really good question, man.
Yeah. Let me see who asked that. Kenny Andrews. Interesting question. That's actually one I'm actually gonna have to think of for a moment. I can't provide you an answer on the fly on that, especially because it was like 8 to 10 of those guys originally. Yeah. Oh man, that's a good question. I like that. Excuse me. As far as Justin Gabriel and the bunny thing, now see. The article, or whatever it was I came across, also was Justin, I guess more so talking about, like, more or less other stuff involving, like, just as far as him leaving and when he knew it was time for him to go and that part, too. Because there's some stuff to that, too. And I think the way I remember it, or the way I interpret it, is that, as usual, basically, the situation was just wasn't in his favor.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he realized that he wasn't going nowhere, pretty much. I don't know if they chose to release him, but, he was kind of coming to grips with the fact that, hey, I'm not going to get any more over or bigger than what I am at this point in my career. And that's a very real thing to come to grips with. Especially since, like I said the other day, if you guys are fans of wrestling, like I am, you've heard so many things. I hate to do this, but you've heard so many things about WWE and what it is and what it isn't. And, about, not just about whether it's fake or real or any of that crap, but also about, people who work hard, backstage politics, etc. This is the thing here. When it comes to overrated, because I really don't like that word, and I often hear it come up in wrestling and a bunch of other things, but for the sake of wrestling, nobody's overrated. People work hard. You work your ass off to become a WWE superstar. Anybody that you see on there, for the most part, even if they were handpicked, you don't just, hey, I want to be a WWE superstar, and there you are. You got to work. And people always like to say people like John Cena are the hardest workers, but I'm like, I beg to differ. I'm willing to argue that people like Zack Ryder or, Dolph Ziggler, those are your hard workers. They have to work to get that TV time. So, where you may shit on the gimmick, shit on the wrestling, or etc., what you also got to understand is some of these people are still in WWE because they can't quit. They can't afford to quit. You know what I mean? It's just, and it's an unfortunate situation. And as much as I like these NXT guys, because a lot of them show a lot of promise, and it's because they're hungry, and because NXT is different from Raw and SmackDown. We got to be careful when comparing them, because they're different. They're owned by the same company, but they're different. The mechanics are different.
Yeah.
But, the thing is, everybody has to work hard. And that's why I don't really like to call wrestling fake, just because to a person who either never watches wrestling or used to watch wrestling, immediately when people think it's fake, or the things that come to fake is that all of it's fake, including the injuries and some of these things that happen to these superstars. These are real things. People really do get hurt. Like I always like to say, if you think wrestling's fake, go and RKO your school teacher. Give your mama a Stone Cold Stunner when she tell your ass to come in the house.
This fool here,
if
man.
If you're still living with your parents.
This motherfucker here.
Tell you, raise the middle finger to your dad and drink all of his beers and see what happens. If it's that fake.
I call it fake, and I have no issues calling it fake, but I'm looking at it within the parameters of what it is, because at the end of the day, it's a TV show. Now, yes, the guys are taking bumps. They're in there taking some serious bumps. They get hurt, they get injured. That's no laughing matter. But I mean, guys can get injured on TV shows too. Stunt actresses, they get hurt. But I mean, that doesn't. I don't think that I still, within the parameters of the show, we still know that it's a fake show. We still know it's scripted. We still know we have actors and actresses, and that's pretty much how I view wrestling. Now the people who say it's fake, like when I say it's fake, I'm using it in a different way than other people who say it's fake. When someone
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's the confusion that exists. Like my buddy, he'll say it's fake, and he'll say it's fake to the degree of
none of it's real. They're not getting hurt.
None of it. It's all like it is ballet. They always like to say, well, it ain't ballet. People like that, they think it is ballet, and it's just, oh, I'm dancing. Till you get in the ring and get your ass slammed down. You take an attitude adjustment a few times on it, and still look at it as a because that's this kind of punk, sissy, non-seriousness that people like to associate with WWE. You watch Men in Tights, Men in Underwear. Oh, what's with you?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Go ahead.
Have you ever taken a bump in the ring?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I've taken plenty of bumps, though, on enough mattresses to know the shit ain't nothing.
I've taken a bump in the ring and it does not feel good. It hurts.
I've been suplexed off of a dresser.
Holy shit! Damn, son.
I lifted up and suplexed. We all played wrestling. We all wrestled growing up, especially boys. We were wrestling.
Oh yeah, walking around with my hands underwear like Stone Cold Steve Austin when I was 10. Ryback rules. What are your favorite submission moves? Mine are the Koji Clutch, Texas Cloverleaf, Master Lock, Lucky 13, and Lion Tamer in the crossface. Mine are the Taz Mission, because I'm a Taz fan. Crippler Crossface, Rings of Saturn, the Fujiwara Armbar. I like Daniel Bryan's Cattle Mutilation. He's used it a couple of times in WWE, but it was pretty much his finisher in Ring of Honor. It looks bad, and I like the original Walls of Jericho, the one where he doesn't go all the way over. He has you like turned halfway, and he digs his knee into your back. That shit hurts. That shit hurts, man. I had a friend put me in that a long time ago, and I also put one of my friends in it too. That move does not feel good, and it looks painful. I love watching that move in real life. Anyone can do the Walls of Jericho, and I'm going to wince in pain. It's one of my favorite moves to look at because it looks like that shit hurts.
Damn good assortment of moves. I was going to say, I think that was the Lion Tamer, wasn't that what the
Yeah, it was the Lion Tamer. Either one.
My brother used to, my older brother, he's 31, he used to call, he had his own version, which is pretty much the Lion Tamer. He never did the actual Walls of Jericho. He did the thing with put his knee in your back. His name is James. So he always called it the Walls of James. And my brother, he's 6'5". You know, he looks like me, but just bigger.
Okay.
And so knees going into you, Walls of James, and tap.
I tap, ref.
All right. All right. Tap. I'm tapping, damn it. At that point, you know what I mean. But oh yeah, man, backyard wrestling. Woo!
Yeah, I gotta address mental sanity real quick. I'm really sad, Max. My parents are getting divorced, and me and my sisters are going to Chicago. My dad's staying here in Texas. I just want us to be a family, but hey, there's no perfect. Yeah, that's true, man. There's no perfect couple. I'm really sorry to hear that, mental sanity. Again, if you need someone to talk to, don't hesitate to message me on Twitter or message me on Twitch. I'll try to let you know. If I'm around, I'll listen and I'll offer some responses. I don't always have good advice, but if you need someone to listen to you and just be there for you, I'm here to lend a hand, man. Backyard wrestling, I think that's a phase that we've all gone through in our childhood. I don't think I've ever smashed my nuts on a ladder, but Murderous Nibbler did. He climbed up a ladder and fell, man, and smashed his nuts.
Couldn't even imagine. That makes me hurt.
Shit, man. When you did you ever have a pro wrestling fed though with your neighborhood kids and shit? Did you ever do shit like that?
Not really. Most of my stuff was growing up. Most of my stuff was tied to my older brothers and my cousin. Some of their friends occasionally, would come over and they would wrestle with us too. A little later, I was still wrestling. To be honest, I was still wrestling to probably 13.
Okay.
Me and my buddy, and a few other guys, we were still at 13. At the age of 13, we were still wrestling around. That's when I got the suplex, actually, at 13. Shoot. That's when there were no referees. So if you wasn't tapping, which nobody wanted to tap, even if no one else was around, no one wanted to tap, you were still going to be in that submission hold. Hit point blank period. Favorite submission holds for me, man. Dad. They had really named a lot of good ones. Do we count the torture rack as a submission?
I never liked that move because when I was a kid, I never understood the parameters of that move. And by that, I mean I didn't really understand how it hurt anyone. Because let's be honest, Lex Luger looked good. He was a muscular, well put together guy. But he wasn't that big. Now, if a Batista or a Brock Lesnar or a Goldberg did that move, I would be like, okay, I could maybe see why that's hurting. But I never liked Lex Luger doing it. Of all the moves they could have given him, they give him the torture rack. And he looked so cheesy when he did it. Because, okay, I'm going to grab my pillow and act really lame here. Because he would have you on his shoulders like this. And he would be smiting. And it looked like they were humping the back of his head. And that shit always annoyed the hell out of me. So I was never, ever a fan of the torture rack. So I can't believe you. It's interesting that you have that on your list. It really is.
I think I just liked it. I more so liked it on the games. Let me see some moves that I really. Man, you said, I like a classic sleeper hold.
Yes.
I'm trying not to use none of your stuff because you definitely pick some great ones that I do like as well. I like the crossface as well, definitely, and I like the Lion Tamer. I like the Sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter was nice.
I'm trying to think of something else that I really liked. Oh, almost forgot. The ankle lock.
Yes. Hell yeah. Who did it better, Angle or Ken Shamrock?
I like Ken Shamrock.
Oh, okay.
And I like Kurt Angle.
Who did it better? Who did it better? You can only pick one. And that goes to the chat, too. Goes to the chat. Who did the ankle lock better, Kurt Angle or Ken Shamrock?
I think that Kurt Angle did it better, but I liked it more so when Ken Shamrock did it.
Ken Shamrock had an intensity to every move he did.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I liked it so much when he did it specifically. But I think Angle's execution was better.
And Kenny Andrews still wants his Nexus answer. Go ahead and give us the fantasy booking, man. Give us a layout of how you would have. First off, in your opinion, was the Nexus a success or a failure? Let's start with that. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna construct this for you. Was the Nexus a success or a failure? Yes, no, and why?
Definitely. I think they were a success. Ultimately, because at the time that they came in, they definitely shook up the landscape. Mainly because there were so many of them, and you didn't really know who these guys were. Especially if you were regular fans, you really didn't know who these guys were. If you were just like the kids in the audiences or the families, you didn't know who these guys were. And you saw them surround the scene. Kind of like the same thing that we saw happen a few years ago with the Shield. I think Nexus definitely, as a whole, Nexus succeeded. Because not only did it bring in a bunch of good talents, only some of which are still around today, it ushered in NXT and a few other things that were later on come. So on the whole, Nexus was definitely successful. In terms of would I booked it any differently, I think WWE did a good job with it.
You really think so?
Even with how, Cena systematically took him out, it wasn't an instant burial. It wasn't an instant burial. It really only a couple guys got buried in the process for the most part at the end of it. And those are the ones that aren't with the program anymore. There's still Heath Slater lingering around. But look, out of that, we got Ryback, we got Daniel Bryan, we got Barrett,
Darren Young.
Darren Young's part of a team, and that's it, right? Tarver was the first one to go. We knew he was going to be gone because of that stupid rag bandana that he had.
Look, I remember a lot of people liking that bandana. I think that was the coolest thing he had.
That was it. I hated Ryback back then because his name was Skip Sheffield.
The corn-fed meathead.
Everybody. That was all he was good for. Yeah, most of the Nexus are gone and didn't do much. But they succeeded in the one thing that they did do, on a whole. And, I don't think they really had much of I don't really think they did much, but their impact is still lasting. That's what I can really say about them on the whole. They didn't really do much, but their impact made a huge difference. Them just being there at that time. Those 8 guys.
It got some guys on TV. It built a lot of guys up at one time. Because, even though I disagree. I think it was a failure. I thought that as cool as that episode was when they showed up, they quickly went out of their way to make them look like a joke. But I do acknowledge that you got 3 guys over in relatively little time. I mean, Ryback, Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan, they were made guys after that group broke up. Daniel Bryan more so because he ended up going against them. I think because he got released because of the thing with Justin Roberts, and then when he came back, he got put in a program against them. You know, teaming up alongside John Cena, which is a big deal. So I think that was cool. And I also you gotta hand The Miz. You gotta give The Miz his due because The Miz also really got Daniel Bryan where he's at now too. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's I'm still gonna have to sit and think about that question. Great question, Kenny Andrews. Just because, see, and we forgot about him, Brian in for life, Otunga. He wasn't even mentioned, as you can see. He's somewhere, sitting behind the scenes, putting oil on his cut-up T-shirt. Walking around kissing on Jennifer Hudson. But when she lets it. But yeah, Nexus, and you made a good point, in terms of how you think it failed. The wrong mechanic in the whole situation was that it was too many of them. It was too many of them. It was doomed from the start because of that. But like I said, in my opinion, it definitely worked in terms of the lasting effects that it had on so many other things. Besides those three guys' careers, we got the old NXT, which further became what the product is today. Sure, it was definitely different then from what it is now, but that was the basis of it. That's where it started. And look where it's at now.
Ryback Rules, you actually lost to Christian. Welcome back, Seven Wags. All right, continue. Sorry.
Tag team Money in the Bank match.
I wouldn't like that. I would not be a fan of that. The Money in the Bank is already a really sketchy idea anyway, because to me, look, I'm a purist when it comes to pro wrestling. This is where I'm going to be a nerd, and I'm going to get on my pedestal a little bit. Title matches, world title matches are important, and they should be treated like a big deal. And for me, a title match should be between two guys that the company has acknowledged are there. And they are ready. They're ready to be up there. They've earned it. The cash-in cheapens the whole idea of a guy getting his first title win, in my opinion. So I'm not a huge fan of them, but I can deal with them because it does create excitement. I remember Edge's cash-in on John Cena. It was ingenious. Very ingenious idea because I had forgot about the Money in the Bank. I was absolutely tired of Cena winning every match. So when he came out and won the title, I was like, well, if this is how they're going to do the Money in the Bank, I support this. I could not imagine them doing... Could you guys imagine, and I'm going to ask you as well, Heartbreak, could you imagine them, or Sweet Chilli, man, that's your new name. Could you imagine them doing a Money in the Bank for every title aside from the world? Could you imagine tag team cash-ins, intercontinental cash-ins, diva cash-ins? It would lose its point. It would definitely lose a lot of its appeal. So I, for one, am not down with the tag team Money in the Bank.
To be honest with you, the Money in the Bank for me is a hard sell as is. To me, the Money in the Bank is it's kind of mediocre. Why can't I just have my regular ladder match with the belt?
Yes, thank you. Someone finally. Why can't they just do a 6-man ladder match for the world title? That would be perfect. Why do you got to do it for the briefcase? I'm not a fan of that. It was cool the first year they did it because it was something that hadn't been done before. It gave a lot of guys some TV time, but it didn't need to be a yearly thing, and it certainly doesn't need its own pay-per-view. So thank you. World title only.
You see that question right there?
Which one?
Well, it's not even a question. It's a statement. Seth Rollins fan has a question about Nexus. I'm still not sure how I would book Nexus. But what's got my attention right now at this exact moment is Kenny Andrews' statement. Two statements.
PG versus Attitude?
Era versus Attitude Era will last for a few months. And then under that it says, and WWE is torn apart.
Like a WWE Civil War, right? Between... I don't know if I would like the pretense of PG versus Attitude.
But I like the idea of there being an inner turmoil on where WWE should go. Maybe PG versus Attitude Era, something. I don't know. Like I want to.
You right here. I got it right here.
Go ahead.
Because I've been talking about this for years, and it can't happen anymore. For the longest, I wanted a redo of the takeover with WWE versus TNA, and a lot of people said it wouldn't work or WWE wouldn't do it. I understand WWE wouldn't do it. It would make money for both companies, no matter how you look at it. Now it wouldn't probably as much as it would have been. It would more so benefit TNA than anything now because this would be their TV time. But now, here is what we have the opportunity to do such a thing. We have Raw / SmackDown over here. And over here, we have NXT. If we do not have, give me, and this ain't going to happen, this is my dream scenario. Give me a War Games match.
Oh my God.
Versus NXT guys. Throw Dolph and all those guys on the Team WWE, the jobbers, versus the NXT guys coming to take their spots and so on.
Well, shit, man. I'm gonna bounce off that a little bit because an idea that I had thought that they were gonna do back in 2012 when they formed the 3-man band, I thought they were gonna have jobbers stable up and start fighting main event wrestlers as a group. And because remember when before they did 3-man band, remember when it was like Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre, Kurt Hawkins, a bunch of jobbers when they attacked The Undertaker and Kane? I was thinking, holy shit, are these guys about to group up and start wrestling main eventers? Why hasn't that happened? Why haven't we had a bunch of guys who were literally tired of being on the opening card, opening show, opening match of the night on Superstars? Why haven't they all just said, hey, maybe instead of us wrestling each other at the beginning of a Superstars or main event or dark match, how about we just group up and start fucking up the champions? And and I don't mean wrestling them. We just go jump their ass before their matches. And we do this for months and months until finally someone pays attention to us. It could be the 1% versus the 99. Go ahead and do an Occupy Wall Street. Base it off of all of that. Seriously. Holy shit. That would be perfect. I would be so down for that. And you have some good jobbers in the company to do that with. You have Zack Ryder. You have Fandango. Who are, I'm not a huge fan of Zack Ryder, but I can't deny that he has a fan base. Fandango, on the other hand, I think is a really talented wrestler that's getting no love. You got Sandow, you got Curtis Axel. Hell, if you want to throw Diego and Epico in there, that's fine too. I say get about 9 guys. I got big Nexus type stable with a bunch of jobbers who just beat the hell out of your main event wrestlers until they get title matches. And then maybe do a War Games match. A 5-on-5, 5 of those jobbers against 5 main event level talents. If the jobbers win, they each get a title match of their choosing. Perfect. I would be so down with that. That's a good 4 or 5 month program right there.
Yeah. I couldn't agree. I really couldn't agree more. I'm just ready. At this point, I'm just ready for something new. And I've had this conversation with Maddox before, you guys, and I've had it with several other people. I just want to see what different people's opinions is that I don't necessarily know. So, what I've been talking about, I've been voicing my opinion a lot. I'm one of those types of fans. I consider myself to be a smart fan, smart mark, whatever you want to call it. And one thing that gets me is I don't have too many issues with actual superstars. My issues usually stem from issues with WWE's creative, because they ultimately make the storyline and determine what's really going to happen. So my thing is, I think right now WWE is suffering from lack of creativity or too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
With different ideas, and it's ultimately creating a very inconsistent storyline for quite a few people on the roster. And I'm voicing my frustration because there's just a lot of things and gimmicks and storylines that are going on right now that just don't make no sense. And Ed ranted about one in particular, and I think he should bring it up. Are you going to talk about Ziggler?
Oh my God! Hold on, let me address some chat stuff first. Dirty J77. We also need 4 Horsemen on 2K16. Let me explain this to you guys, because this is where I'm going with this. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and y'all can call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. The 4 Horsemen are gonna be DLC in that game, and let me explain why. 2K, they released that statement 2 days ago. Heartbreak, I don't know if you know this. 4 Horsemen aren't in the game. And by 4 Horsemen women, I mean Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. They're not in 2K16.
What are the names again? What are the names again?
Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks are the 4 Horsewomen. That's what they're called. It's like, I think fans have really come up with that, and they've really embraced it. I think it's really cool. They're not going to be in 2K16. And 2K Games posted an article saying that they won't be DLC either. Let me explain to you why that's bullshit.
Community creations. Use that.
Use that, but let me explain to you why they're going to be in the game. And I want you to follow me here with this. Okay. They're going to be in the game. They're going to be DLC. And here's why they said they're not going to be here's why they said they're not going to be DLC for Control. They want to damage Control. Because when they revealed the full roster and people said, wait, why is Tyler Breeze? Why is Finn Balor? Why are all of these NXT guys in here but the NXT Divas Champions not? Oh, well, obviously they're going to charge her as DLC. That's bullshit. So 2K got backlash because fans already went with the route of, you guys are going to charge us to play Sasha Banks. Fuck that. She should be in the game at launch. So to control that damage, they released a statement saying, hey, they're not going to be in the game at all. It's beyond our control. What's going to happen, guys, and you can mark my words, and I want you guys to tell me I'm right 5 months from now. And if I'm wrong, I want you to also tell me I'm wrong 5 months from now. So everyone remember this. 5 or 6 months from now, THQ is going to release a statement. Not THQ. 2K Games, they're going to release a statement, and they're going to say, we listened to you fans. We heard all your complaints. We decided to, as a thank you for all of you guys who put up the fight and told us what you wanted, we're going to put the Divas in as DLC. They're DLC all along. Right now, those motherfuckers know those Divas are going to be DLC. But because we are hot and we're pissed about it, they're telling us they're not DLC. So that when we forget about it, half a year down the road, they're going to be like, hey, those Divas you guys said you wanted, well, we hear you guys loud and clear. Let us show you our thanks for you buying our game by charging you to play as these Divas that we said weren't going to be in the game anyway. And the reason why I say this is if you guys remember when Finn Balor got scanned for that game, Sasha Banks got scanned too. She even said as much on her Twitter. Her Twitter account, she literally said she got scanned for 2K15. She didn't say she got scanned for shits and giggles. She said she got scanned for the new game, 2K16. Her ass is going to be in the game. She's just not going to be at launch. Our ass is going to have to pay our $3.99 per character to get them. So, yeah, it's going to happen. They're going to be DLC. It's going to happen. And, oh well, I mean, fuck them. I'm not paying for them. That's all there is to it. As much as I want to play as them, I'm not paying. I'm not paying a cent. And go into some questions. Ryback Rules asked a question about... Oh, what's up, Raven Westbrook? I didn't see you. Ryback Rules, back in WWE2K, or WWE12, my tradition is that I use my favorite legend in the game, Arn Anderson, and my favorite in that game, Drew McIntyre. In 2K16, I was thinking of putting Ken Shamrock and Kevin Owens together. Would it be a dominant tag team in real life? My answer to that is hell yeah. I think that would be a really good tag team. Kevin Owens and Ken Shamrock? That's a really interesting tag team, and I'm a big fan of that. And also,
what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that's a really slick tag team. Dirty J77 has also joined the Bad Guy Club. As the newest member of the Bad Guy Club, you receive a welcoming package, and it's going to contain a pair of sunglasses, a switchblade, and a leather jacket. So thank you for hitting the follow button. Welcome to the club, and remember to stay bad, because being bad is fun.
Brian for life. I think he also asked this as a question earlier. If he didn't, someone else did. Who you guys got teaming up with Ambrose and Reigns? And you had a theory on that.
I have a theory. I got 3 picks right now, right? My 3 picks, Kane, which I'm not really feeling. I'm not feeling Kane. Heartbreak, I had to borrow from you because I'm not going to act like this is my idea. You suggested it. I didn't really think about it. And then after I had like really thought about the negatives and positives and the benefits from it, I think The Rock is a really solid option. And Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar is also Brock Lesnar is a very real possibility. I think Brock Lesnar is probably the most realistic option for their third partner. It's so obvious that we've not thought about it, and it's so obvious that when I say it, you're probably thinking there's no way Brock Lesnar. And then you're going to let it stew for a few minutes, and you're like, yeah, Brock Lesnar would make sense.
To me, Maddox, Brock makes more sense right now to me than Kane or The Rock.
Right.
To me. Kane doesn't, like, people are saying Kane because he hasn't been there. Because he really does not make sense in the match, really. Not at this point. I don't think he does. I mean, he might have had a little situation with the Wyatts, but really he doesn't make sense. Really, to be honest, no one's picking Eric Rowan. Let's be real. No one's picking Eric Rowan.
No.
Because no one really cares for Eric Rowan. That's why no one's picking him.
Here's the other. I do want to say.
Technically, he would be the best choice. But also, nobody wants to see him.
That's the problem. That's what I want to. I want to talk about this real quick, and I'll let you take it again. WWE has backed themselves into a corner by not revealing who it is, because knowing WWE, and I'm one of those guys, I don't really have a lot of confidence in them as far as the creative department. I don't think they realize how interesting this mystery partner is. So for them to use it on Eric Rowan, I think is going to let a lot of people down. And they don't seem to get that. Because I do think Eric Rowan is a very real possibility too. And I'm thinking...
but it's not that no one wants him.
No one wants him.
That's why he hasn't been mentioned. It's because in our minds, yeah, we know he's the choice. But it's like, don't say that. Don't tell us that. Now, man, I wouldn't even mind for a little bit, Seth Rollins fans. I wouldn't even mind seeing Strowman and Rock, tussling around. He's a big old lummox, big old farm boy. I don't know what you call him.
Was just a hoss. He is the literal definition of a hoss.
Yeah. Kojak.
Yeah.
Sweet Chilli, man. How would you feel if there was a Raw where Triple H is talking when the lights go out and Stone Cold returns and says, enough ends this in the ring and the lights come on, steps Triple H, and 2 teams are formed, and whoever wins gets the company. And that man being Shane McMahon. Okay, listen. I don't know if it happening like that would be it, but I've been telling Ed and other people this for a while. The day that I hear "Here comes the money," and Shane comes out with his money skip, it goes down to that dollar. I'm going to freak the hell out, because when Shane McMahon comes back and Shane McMahon's on the show, he is there to definitely shake things up. Whether he'll be directly influenced or not, in a creative way, he will be shaking things up. That is my moment to have for Shane O'Mac coming back. I wouldn't even mind a Paul Heyman and or Shane McMahon managed NXT or NXT team of some sort. See, there's so many ideas, and this is what ultimately makes me a fan of WWE. Even though I don't agree with a lot of some of their decisions, there's so many things that they could do. I wish they had a page or place to where we could literally just give feedback and just post, hey, I got an idea. It doesn't even matter if you don't choose this idea. If I know that you're listening, Do you know how many people will be posting storylines up in there?
That's probably why they don't have that.
I'm pretty sure a lot of you all would do it.
That's why they don't have it, because there'd be a lot of people. Look, I'm not gonna lie. One of the things I'm doing as soon as because look, I'm going to school for my teaching degree, and I also have a creative writing minor. Once I get my degree, I am actually going to apply to the creative team. I don't, granted, I think you have to have television show writing experience. And I've obviously not done that, so that's something that I need to write for, local programming or something. I would love to work for maybe not even WWE's creative, just pro wrestling in general. I don't think I have money ideas all the time, because I don't. But I do think that some of the stuff I come up with, especially when we talk about them in chat, people are like, holy shit, that's really fun. And it would be just a really interesting life experience to say that I got to work for pro wrestling.
That's a good question.
What's the question?
A question that's been asked and talked about a lot. Is WWE racist?
Well, we don't work there, so there's your answer. Knuckle 12 has joined the Bad Guy Club. As the newest member of the Bad Guy Club, you receive a welcoming package. It's going to contain a pair of sunglasses, a switchblade, and a leather jacket. So thank you for hitting the follow button. Welcome to the club, and remember to stay bad, because being bad is fun. I do want to go back and look at some stuff that was mentioned in chat. Page 31 said, she doesn't care who Roman and Dean's partner is because the feud is boring. Is the feud boring for you? Are you me personally, I'm not really into the feud, but I'm okay with it because they have good matches. Again, I don't know about you guys, and I don't know about you, Mr. Heartbreak, but for me, as far as main WWE goes, and I'm not talking about pro wrestling in general, I'm talking WWE, Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt from Battleground, probably my match of the year so far. Maybe. I have to really think about it.
I have to really think, as far as matches of the man. I
What's
really
up, Jay
have
Swish?
To sit. And by the way, if anybody asked me a question and I didn't answer it, you're more than welcome to re-ask it. If you have to, capital letter it so I can see it. Like I said, this is my first time on the Twitch stream and everything, dealing with the chat and everything. So if I missed the question, trust me, it's definitely not on purpose. It's purely on accident. I do have the chat on my TV right now, so I'm trying to multitask and do everything else. So I suggested to Ed, and I just want you all's opinions on what you think of this. So I picked The Rock as being the potential tag team partner. Now, I also had a storyline in mind to go along with this, because there's been rumblings of some things here and there. So tell me how this sounds, you guys. I'm going to answer that in a minute, Kenny Idris. I have The Rock is the partner. Not only would that make the mystery live up to what it was supposed to be, it will sell the match, just off Rock alone. Okay? And they need somebody for that big dude, for Strowman, or whatever his name is. So, Rock's in the match, and at this time, we use Roman Reigns, and we give Roman Reigns his heel turn. And Roman Reigns spears The Rock, setting up Roman Reigns' heel turn, but also using The Rock to groom up his cousin. Because if The Rock's really going to put someone over, who's going to be either somebody he really likes in reality, or somebody that, is related to him, if anything. Okay? More often than not, I'll tell you, I kid you not. Let me see. It sets up Reigns and Rock. And ultimately, this would be Rock putting over Reigns, which would also be grooming Reigns up for Cena. And basically what Roman would be saying is, hey, John Cena, I beat The Rock on my first try. It took you 2 times. A heel Reigns versus Cena. Okay? Cena, smart fans like us will like that because people want a heel Reigns. They've been wanting it. I think he could pull it. He has the look of a heel character to begin with. Okay? Mother and children, you know, Cena's typical fans are going to go for Cena, of course, in this situation. I know it's soon, and to some of y'all, this may be reaching. The storyline with Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania, okay, or not at WrestleMania, at Royal Rumble. Have Roman beat Cena at Mania for the belt, assuming that Cena would have it, of course, because Cena is supposed to get this belt back again, even though I don't want him to be a 16-time champion, but that's another conversation. Now, by Cena beating Rollins at WrestleMania, I thought this would have beat Punk's record. That's the only problem with this. Rollins is probably going to keep his record, but that's also a way to take that belt off of Rollins. Because eventually we're going to have the Shield go against each other again. And that's right.
So you have this start a feud between Roman Reigns and The Rock, and you use this feud as a catalyst to turn Roman Reigns heel, setting up for
give him some push it some.
Okay, I like that.
John Cena.
I like that, but my question is, going to The Rock, do you think they would have The Rock as a surprise? You don't think they would have advertised him having a match, like, going into the pay-per-view?
No, they definitely would, which is why, ultimately...
It's probably going to be Eric Rowan.
Yeah, it's reaching. Because they would advertise The Rock because they want the viewership. They're going to advertise The Rock because The Rock, he brings in money and viewers. They will always, and they usually do. Rock ain't going to be no surprise because Rock ain't going to be the partner. Obviously, we already know the partner. I hate to be, if I'm being a realist for a second. Rock ain't going to be the partner. It's going to be somebody who we don't want to see.
It's not that I don't want to see Eric Rowan. It's just I don't think WWE.
It's not going to be him, though.
I don't think they've realized how. You think it's going to be Kane?
How they've overhyped the mystery person. They don't realize how they've overhyped the mystery person to the point that they are going to let us down. They're going to let us down.
I mean, if it's short of Brock Lesnar, it's going to be a disappointment as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what anyone says. I will argue until I pass out. It's going to be Brock Lesnar. I don't even think that's an absurd idea. I think Brock Lesnar is a legit choice. And he's going to be there. If that fucking music, if the does not hit this Sunday, tomorrow, and if I see a motherfucker come out with a sheep mask, a white sheep mask with a red beard, I'm not going to watch that match. I'm going to do something else while that match is going on. Because they have officially disappointed me. But again, I don't think Brock Lesnar is a ridiculously possible choice. But we'll see.
And, I know. Y'all getting on me in the comments a little bit. Yeah, I know. I know it's reaching. It definitely is reaching. But it could work. It's not impossible, but it definitely is reaching. It'd be better than I'm pretty sure WWE is going to give us, because y'all know they're going to give us some crap. Y'all know it. They're going to definitely give us something we don't really want to see.
I probably won't even be upset if it's Eric Rowan. I just know a lot of people are going to be they're going to feel let down. That's how I feel.
Viewership's definitely going to go down.
What was up with this crazy Baron? What was up with this crazy Baron Corbin rumor? Like someone had photoshopped a picture of Baron Corbin being partnered with those guys, and the internet went crazy and said it was going to be Baron Corbin. Again, why Baron Corbin? I just, I don't understand.
That was brought up by someone in chat earlier, too. And we didn't acknowledge it, but I forgot which one of y'all said it, because I did see that guy's name. I don't really have an opinion on him. I've seen him on the product, though. I don't really have an opinion on him.
He's not bad. He's not bad.
Oh, I don't think that. I just don't really... I couldn't really say much. I don't really have much to say about their I need to watch some more NXT, you guys. And yeah, probably so. You know what though? You know, there's definitely a pool of NXT people. What if they gave us Finn Balor?
No, man. I'm like, after the promo Roman Reigns cut, it has to be a monster. Because Roman was like, oh, you got Braun Strowman, he's a monster. Well, we got a monster too. Baron Corbin, look, man, I like Finn Balor. Finn Balor's the shit. But Finn Balor ain't no damn monster. I need, like, a beast. I need a Brock Lesnar, dog. That's what I need. That's, like, to me, that's the only suitable option.
So we got Brock Lesnar and Kane as our highest prospects. Because we need a... Oh! We basically got to think of all the destructive people. So Brock Lesnar, Kane, even though he's a jobber at best nowadays, and I think he does it out of choice more so than actually being booked.
Yeah.
We have Mark Henry. Who else? I know no one would really like that much neither, but I would love to see Mark Henry give Strowman World Strongest Slam.
Man, Mark Henry's kind of like Jericho at this point, though. They're like they're scorched earth, you know. No one really benefits from beating them, and they certainly they're kind of like they're scorched earth. They're scorched earth rather. They're kind of like lost stock because they're not convincing. Mark Henry has one of these weird things that when he turns heel, he's ridiculous. But when he's face, he loses to everything. He lost to Bo Dallas. They had Bo
chocolate when he's face, and
that's stupid, man. His Hall of Pain was like I want to go ahead and preface it by saying I've never found Mark Henry entertaining. I've never been a fan of Mark Henry, but when that son of a bitch started the Hall of Pain and was dumping them boys, dude, the Hall of Pain was the shit. He was my favorite. He was behind the Miz.
Retirement speech.
Oh, his retirement speech was fantastic. I'm counting that as part of the Hall of Pain run. Anything from 2011 until he turned face is the Hall of Pain.
Man, that was the most believable thing.
Oh, it was good too. Oh my god, I didn't change his entrance.
It was so. Man, I was enjoying that. I enjoyed that. Mark Henry's one of those people.
I got a lot left in the tank.
Oh man, yeah, Hall of Fame actually was when he was going around putting people down. It's gonna be Wade Barrett.
It's not gonna be Wade Barrett.
What if Kane comes out and the Undertaker comes out with him?
Undertaker ain't gonna be there. It needs to be Kane in a mask. If it's gonna be Kane, he better be wearing a mask, and that's it. And he better no sell every move they hit him with. Like he better not sell a single move.
What if? All right, if it's Kane, I'm gonna be honest. If it's Kane, there's only one Kane I want it to be, and that is the Attitude Era Kane, including attire.
He has to have the thing that talks like this too. He's got to go back to the roots, dog.
Don't talk. Yeah, I don't want to hear him speak. Like I want him to come out. Like when was the last time? It's been a minute. Like I want the fire. I want it all. If you bring Kane back, you do it in style as epic as possible. Because at this point, Kane ain't gonna make that many people happy. But if you do it right, people will still take something out of that.
All right,
Attitude Era Kane with the fire and everything, and that same attire. I won't accept that rise above hate or whatever it was.
Embrace the hate, Cena.
Embrace the hate, John Cena, Kane. I don't want that crap. I don't want this PG era. I'm tired of seeing boring Kane crap. Because they can...
You can't lie, though. Kane was a shit in Team Hell No.
Definitely.
He was the shit. I wasn't
doing his thing.
Yeah. Raven Westbrook wants me to mention something because we were talking about fantasy tag teams a little bit earlier, and he said one of his fantasy tag teams is Dean Ambrose and Finn Balor because Finn Balor calls himself the Demon, and Dean Ambrose is a lunatic, and he wants them to be like the lunatic demon or something. What fantasy tag team are there two guys that you would like to see paired up in WWE? And this goes to not only Heartbreak Kid but also people in the chat. Two guys that you would like to see paired up right now on the roster. They don't have to make sense. It can be just something that you guys personally want to see.
Yeah. For me.
I know you want to see Zack Ryder and El Torito, don't you?
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you. I know. You too busy looking at Evan Bourne's grinder photos, dog.
Nasty. Yuck. I will not. Hey, I will not. Maddox has been on a rant about these Evan Bourne grinder picks for a long time. For those of you who don't know, I personally do know Maddox. I was about to say we go back. No, but yeah. What if they so make his turn to help his cousin?
My God, you cannot cut a promo about their partner being a monster and then having an Uso come out. So.
Ooh, no.
Eric. Oh, I remember. What were they called? Weren't they just called Stenerico? Do you remember the tag team match with the Briscoe brothers, Dirty J, at I think Ladder Wars 2005, or was it It might have been later. Anyway, fantastic match. God, that match was great.
Isn't that Generico Zayn?
He is Sami Zayn. Yes, he is Sami Zayn. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the Usos as a tag team. I think they're one of the best tag teams in the world. And I know people laugh at that. I have them up there with Red Dragon. I have them up there with the Young Bucks. They're up there as one of the most solid teams. Candice LeRae and Joey Ryan. They're up there with those guys. But they do wrestle a formula.
While people complaining about the Usos are actually great. And one day, at least based off of how things have been going, one day we may get the Usos versus the Hardys in some form of ladder.
Oh my God, dude! Do you remember when they did Miz and Morrison? Or not Miz and Morrison? Nitro. Oh God, who was it? Nitro and Mercury against the Hardy Boys. They had some good matches together too. I want to go ahead and do a fantasy booking idea that I've had for a while. Because I talked about it on a pro wrestling forum that I post at.
Good joke, Seth Rollins, man. That was actually good.
If Neville and Dallas were a tag team, what was it? Bow and Arrow, if you get it. Oh my God, crazy. Oh my God, Heath Slater will join the brothers to take on the Wyatts. Used to love when Earthquake did the finish. Other partners, the winner of Tough Enough. Oh my God, Josh. No, it's Sarah Lee. Sarah Lee's the partner. All right, so I'm going to go into like a fantasy booking thing that I had with Roman Reigns because you talked about Roman Reigns. And I don't think I've ever shared this with anyone because it was really long. It was a really long post. And this actually, I posted all of this after the Royal Rumble. So, because, we were all confused on the Royal Rumble and The Rock coming out and all of that. So the idea that I had, because you brought up the Usos, what if Roman Reigns had Superman punched The Rock at Royal Rumble? And then that's how the show ended. He ended the show by Superman punching The Rock after they celebrated. And then the next night on Raw, Roman Reigns cut a promo saying that he used the fans to get in the main event. Saying that, like, look, when you guys were all in favor of me getting to the title, you guys were all in favor of me, beating the bad guys, and then now that I'm close to winning the title, all of a sudden you guys just turn on me. You guys, you're not showing me any love. So I'm going to... Yeah, his face is horrible. I don't know why his face is morphing out. So basically, Roman Reigns, he says some shit like, look, you fans are fickle. You fans are fickle. Now that I'm about to go to WrestleMania in the main event, You guys are suddenly not wanting to see me. So you know what? I'm done with you guys. I use you guys just like you used me. You guys got me to a title match, and now that I'm here, I don't need you anymore. And he completely casts himself away from the WWE Universe. He goes heel. He beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Turns into a big heel, cocky heel, calling himself the greatest because he beat Brock Lesnar in one try. And then I included the Usos because they're related, right? So the Usos, so Roman Reigns, he kind of like sways them to join him. He's like, look, you guys are faces. They liked you when you guys were just the undercard act. You guys were the funny guys who did all the high flying moves. You guys, they rooted for you because you were in the undercard. But now that you guys have the titles, they're turning on you. You know why? Fans are fickle. So I say you guys just leave them and wrestle for yourselves. Do like me. Look where I'm at. I'm wrestling for myself. I don't give a damn about these fans. And I beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. You guys should do the same. So then the Usos, they join Roman Reigns too. And they have a stable, and the stable's called The Island. And the island is a play on them being from the island of Samoa, but also they're an island because they keep to themselves. They don't give a shit about the fans. They don't care what the fans think. They're just wrestling, looking out for themselves, doing their own thing. And it eventually leads to a program where Seth Rollins turns face because Roman Reigns cuts a deal with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And because this is when Seth Rollins had the Money in the Bank briefcase. He wants to ensure that Rollins does not cash in on him. So he's willing to play ball with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon if they prevent Seth Rollins from cashing in. So Rollins turns face, and now he and Dean Ambrose, they become reluctant allies to fight against Roman Reigns and his island, the Usos. So they're kind of teaming up. Rollins is face, Dean Ambrose is face, but they don't really trust each other because of their previous feud. But they know that Roman Reigns has to be stopped because no one's going to do it. So this leads to a program where Rollins and Roman Reigns finally have their one-on-one match, and they finally do their thing. Rollins is about to beat Reigns to take the title, and Dean Ambrose stops it. He turns on Reigns. And then you do why did Dean Ambrose do it? Why did Dean Ambrose, turn on Rollins? And Ambrose cuts a promo and says some shit like, look, I told you I was going to get you back, Seth Rollins. When you ended the Shield, I told you I was going to come back and I was going to, make you pay. This is me making you pay. And then by the time you get to WrestleMania 31, by the time you get to WrestleMania 32, you have a triple threat. You have Roman Reigns as your heel. You have Dean Ambrose as kind of a tweener who is actually more so being a heel, and then you have Seth Rollins as a face. Those three guys wrestle for the title. Would have been perfect. That was my big ass idea for Roman Reigns' first title run. Rey Mysterio, Batista returns to Night Champions and joins Ambrose. My God. How about King Booker? King Booker comes back at Night of Champions. That would be really dope. And Usos wouldn't even be J&J Security. They would be a strong tag team in their own right. They would be tag team champions while Roman Reigns is heavyweight champion. And they would still be holding it down as tag team champs. And I would add a fourth person to the stable. I just don't know who. It would have to be someone who is, it would have to be someone who's a face that fans are shitting on because they, of course, fans turn on faces all the time. But I would have loved to have had a stable around Roman Reigns. It would have been really cool. I also want Jeff Hardy to come back, and I'm pretty sure he will be coming back at some point. King Booker. King Booker will help Dean Ambrose. And he would have something like Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. I don't know if I would like that tag team, Westbrook. I don't know. That's an interesting team, though. All hell King Booker. I loved when William Regal went on that long-ass tirade. Just, all hell King Booker. And, they went to commercial break, and they came back, and he's still in the ring, just shouting it. he might get fired in the TNA in storyline TNA. Well, I mean TNA lost their TV deal, so what's going on with them? Anyone know? King Booker.
King Booker.
That was
I like King Booker.
The Big O. I can't believe the Big O didn't even get into the Tough Enough house, man. That's great. No, Mata. Mata needs to come out with that Egyptian garb that he wore on Tough Enough. And he needs to help. We need Mata out there. Uh-oh. Enzo Amore is going through the ropes. He's going to the outside. Oh, it won't be Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle signed for a great deal of time.
With who?
With TNA. What are you eating? You got your Sweet Chilli. You got Sweet Chilli.
No, Pizza Hut was closed by the time I realized. I actually got some Hetties.
Oh, really? Hetties is still open?
Oh yeah, Hetties open close to 2.
Damn, man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they about to open day shift because normally Hetties is open 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. So now they're about to be open 10 to 2 a.m. Hey, and they're hiring.
Shit. You gonna work? You gonna work over at Hetties?
Nah, I like pizza, but I can never really see myself working in a pizza place.
I feel like I wouldn't be interested in eating pizza anymore if I worked with it. You know, like for an extended period of time. J. Cal thought it was teriyaki. Maybe oh my god, when RoboCop broke the still. Oh, that was so stupid, man. WCW did a lot of super cheesy things. Even before it got terrible, they still did things like that, like RoboCop. But then again, at the same time, Chuck Norris was a security guard in a casket match in WWF. So I guess I can't complain. SJSK_the_2_. Oh, I totally messed up your name. SJSK_the_2. Hardy versus Dudley's and Manny would be awesome if TNA goes out of business. Would be possible. I don't know if TNA is going to go out of business. I think they're going back to website only shows because remember when FSN when they lost their contract with FSN, they did TV shows on their website that you could watch, and then they moved to Spike. I don't know why Spike dropped them. I think that Spike really should have kept. I finally figured it out, guys. The third man will be the Shockmaster. Hey, you got a problem? And then he trips over a wall. There is no song request. We're just kind of doing another. This is like the pro wrestling version of Bad Slayer Friday, almost. I feel like this is the pro. This is like pro wrestling Bad Slayer. Pro wrestling all night, but we're also playing a pro wrestling game.
I'm honored.
You're honored. Yo, when is CM Punk going to fight in the UFC? Sometime 2016, I heard. Probably early 2016. Like, I'm honestly thinking summer. Because, like, they usually do a big show in July. I feel like it would be a really big deal to have CM Punk on their July show. Have him co-headline with a title match, and you're going to have some good buy rates. And I know for you guys, a lot of you guys who watch pro wrestling probably don't watch UFC. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask, and I feel like I know the answer. Are you going to watch CM Punk's fight?
Who, me?
Anyone. You, anyone in chat. This goes to everyone.
I may. I actually do. I didn't used to, but I've actually started watching UFC. I don't keep up on it like most people do, but I have actually watched a few of the last big pay-per-views. I like it. I definitely do like it. I may watch this fight just to see if you win or not.
Everyone pretty much is like unanimous decision that yes, they're gonna. I will watch it. I will be watching that match. I'm gonna watch. I'm not like I used to be a hardcore UFC fan. I actually used to not watch wrestling at all and just watched MMA, Pride FC, UFC, World Extreme Cage Fighting. I watched it all. I loved it. I even trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a couple of years. I wanted to be an MMA fighter. I will say that UFC there were two things that kind of ruined MMA for me. One, there are too many UFC shows now. Way too many. I miss it back when I was watching, you would do good to get a UFC pay-per-view every 3 months. And then they switched to the once a month format, which was cool. And I was like, oh, now I can, there's a UFC card every month. That's dope. Now it's like 4 fucking shows a month. And some of them really aren't worth the time to watch them. So I stopped watching. The second thing that happened is, I, like, the last UFC card I remember watching is the same night that I broke up with my real serious girlfriend at the time. Like, we were really serious. And we broke up while we were watching a UFC show. And every time I look at a UFC show, I'm like, damn, I remember us fighting like crazy. And then, like, I just told her to leave, and I've not seen her since. So I just stopped. I've just entirely stopped watching UFC. But I'm going to watch the CM Punk fight. I will be there for the CM Punk fight, for sure. I hate Floyd Mayweather. He is so stupid. I want him to fight, then he will be defeated. He's going to retire with an undefeated winning streak. Just see him. You wanna see CM Punk get beat? Wow. Damn, where are you at, man? You're in the darkness. You're killing that food.
I'm eating, so I just cut it.
You cut off the camera while you're eating. Man, you might as well.
I don't want to just eat in front of everybody and just,
My God, man, look at this guy. Doesn't he have etiquette? He has some etiquette. All right, well, let's see what's going on in the chat because someone had asked some questions.
Night, Brian. Night, Brian. Live.
Brian's going to sleep? Damn, Brian. Take care, man. I hope you enjoy Night of Champions tomorrow. I do want to go ahead and get into some predictions.
Michael Jordan. Yeah. That was in the chat.
He will join the brothers at NLC to take on the Wyatts. Wow. All right. I think let's go ahead and talk about the pay-per-view because we've went all over the place with this conversation tonight. So this was the Night of Champions preview. I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia page real quick. I'm going to pull it up on my phone, actually, so I can just look at it from where I'm sitting instead of changing anything. You'll stay for predictions. I want to go ahead and have people... I want to have you guys do your predictions, too. I want you to actually submit your predictions into my inbox because I'm going to do a contest like for whoever has the most correct guesses, I think is what I'm trying to say. I want to reward them with some kind of prize. It probably won't be anything big, something small or stupid. Like maybe you get to decide the quote that I shout at whenever someone follows me. You can change my motto or something. I'll decide. So, Mr. Heartbreak said, if that food isn't like tearing you up, if you would like to begin this breakdown of the pay-per-view, I'm down to do that. If you want to go ahead and we'll start with the first match. Like I said, the format that we're going to do this in, guys, how this is going to work, how I had planned it to work when I was discussing this with Heartbreak Sid at work. We're basically going to look at the match from bottom to top. We are going to just share our general thoughts on the guys involved in the match. Share like our general thoughts on if we think the match is going to be good, if we're looking forward to it. And then we're going to talk about who we think is going to win and why they're going to win. And then you guys can chime in and chat with any ideas you have. Or if you want to, talk about whatever, that's cool too. So, Mr. Heartbreak Sid, you ready to do this thing?
Yeah, you got the card?
I got the card pulled up right now. Dark match, or the pre-show match, I guess. So the pre-show match looks like it's Neville and the Lucha Dragons against the Cosmic Wasteland. I told you that I'm a fan of this stable that's formed with the Ascension and Stardust. I think it's the correct way to rebuild the Ascension because I like the Ascension as a tag team. They're not the greatest. They're not like really solid in-ring wrestlers. But they're convincing. They remind me of some of your old big man tag teams who were very stiff and very hard hitting. So I like it. I didn't like that WWE kind of like shit the bed with them. They do on them, and I mean like JBL was openly burying them on commentary.
These guys, yeah,
it really bothered me. And then every time they came out, JBL went out of his way to talk about how shitty of a tag team they were. And on top of that, the New Age Outlaws also like gave them a competitive match at Royal Rumble. That shouldn't have happened. Honestly, the Ascension should have squashed the New Age Outlaws at Royal Rumble this year. I thought that would have been a great way to really build them up as
these new guys are there.
yeah. But
respect.
they don't have any respect. They're nobodies. They're beating a bunch of yokels. Anyone can do. I was so annoyed. I was so surprised that they were openly burying the Ascension on TV. But they did, in the same breath, they did a good job at Elimination Chamber of making the Ascension look like a really good tag team. I think they eliminated 2 or 3 of the 6 teams involved in that match. And I thought that was going to be that was going to be their moment to really build them as a good team. And then the next thing I know, they're back on Superstars, losing left and right. So, where are you at with this match? What are your thoughts? I pretty much said what I wanted to say. I think the Cosmic Wasteland is a great idea. It seems to give the Ascension something to do. I'm down with that. Where are you at?
Well, for this match, you know, within our wrestling group, briefly mentioned that, I have the Cosmic Wasteland winning this match. Just because at this point I don't really know how I feel really about the Lucha Dragons, as well as Neville right now has been a victim of being on the roster. Because for the most part, compared to some of the other NXT stars who made it to the roster or are currently on the star, he has really been at the lowest of them all. So ultimately, I'm going for the Cosmic Wasteland because, man, together I think there's so much. I like the star power involved with the Cosmic Wasteland. That's what it comes down to. I like the star power going on there. I think I could see Cosmic Wasteland being like something in a comic. I know that's not relevant to the match, but I like that team better.
Yeah,
I'm going for them.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I feel like what's gonna happen is Neville and the Lucha Dragons and Neville. I feel like they're gonna win, but I think that this is a match that the Cosmic Wasteland needs to win. Because this is good for all 3 men involved. I think this is good for Stardust because anyone who has a stable built around them, because Stardust is the leader of this team. So anyone who has a stable around them is suddenly perceived as being a big deal. And I think when a casual fan sees 2 guys who are pretty much doing a wrestler's bidding, they view that guy as being a big shot. So giving Stardust a stable really, really props him up as being a legitimate threat. And again, it gives the Ascension something to do while also helping to rebuild them as a viable tag team. So for me, the right decision in that situation is to have the Cosmic Wasteland win that match.
I think they go well together. I think they complement each other.
They really do. I think they do. The one thing I want to see more of, and this is like one of those nitpicky, nerdy complaints. I want to see more interaction. Because when they did their entrances on Monday Night Raw, because they came out as a group, it was like Stardust was doing his thing, and the Ascension were doing their thing. They did their usual Ascension yelling, and Stardust did his usual like acting weird and laughing. They weren't working together, and that shit's important to me. Like, to me, when you are a stable and you're a unit, you gotta look the part, and they don't look it yet. And I think that's something that they can definitely work on. So I'm hoping that they get the win. I love Neville. I love the Lucha Dragons, but they don't need to win that match. They just don't. So, gosh, man, I really hope Cosmic Wasteland wins that one. That's all I pretty much have to say about that, unless you got add anything else to it.
The other team, real quick. I don't think Neville. Unless Neville's been winning a lot of matches lately, which, as far as his momentum, because I thought he was losing stuff, his momentum won't be destroyed because his momentum isn't going anywhere. And that was part of my point that I made earlier. He's had the worst main roster tryout, or whatever you want to call it, of any of the NXT stars currently. Nothing's really come with him being on the main roster. He's lost most of his matches. most of which he shouldn't have lost at all.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know what his purpose is on the roster now. At least with Kevin Owens, I got a little bit more of an idea, but Neville was just like there to use him in matches just to have him do a few spots. You know, his moves. Other than that, Neville's been, I don't really see the momentum that he's had. But that's it. All I really have to say as far as that. I don't want them to lose, but if I had to choose between the team that I think rightfully deserves to win, I'm sorry, but I got to go with Cosmic Wasteland as well. I just think.
Yeah, Paige, send predictions to my inbox on Twitch, please. Everybody, if you want to play the predictions game, inbox me on Twitch with your results, and whoever has the most points will win some. I don't know if I'll do the most points after this or the most points after like 3 pay-per-views straight or something. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do. I don't know if I interrupted you, so I apologize if I do. You do. Okay, cool. Roddy said, and I agree with what Roddy said. It's a very excellent point. Whatever team plans on staying together should get the win. And I think when it comes down, when it comes down to it, that's the most important thing.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah,
in terms of a lot of things.
Yeah, whoever's staying together should win. Okay, so I guess we're ready to go on to the next match. I don't know if these are in order. Obviously not, because I think we always have an idea of how matches are supposed to happen, and then once the pay-per-view happens, we're like, what's that match doing starting the show? But the next match that I have on the list is the New Day defending their WWE Tag Team Championships versus the Dudley Boys. I guess I'm actually looking forward to this match because I think Edge and Christian brought up an excellent point on the Stone Cold podcast. A lot of these tag teams don't really understand the nuances of tag team wrestling. Like cutting off the ropes, or if you're a heel tag team, making not really tagging each other in, but making the referee think that you tagged in. One thing that Edge and Christian always did is when the referee wasn't looking, they would slap their hand in the air to so the other guy could switch in. And it was super cool because it was like, you guys could have tagged in, but we're rule breakers, so we're not going to tag each other. We're just going to high-five our hands in the air and make the referee think that we tagged in, because that's how we do it. And I think Edge and Christian brought up something really interesting. They thought the Dudley Boys, being an old-school tag team, kind of being refined in how tag team wrestling works, they think that they'll be able to come in here and, help these teams learn how tag team wrestling works. And I think that's a very interesting idea. So I'm hoping, the experience from the Dudley Boys rubs off, not just on the New Day, not just on primetime players, but on all of these tag teams in WWE, because I like tag team wrestling. I've always been a fan of tag team wrestling, but I will say tag team wrestling is a lot different now than it was when I was a kid, back when you had the Steiner Brothers and Harlem Heat and, the Rockers and the Hart Foundation. You had all these different tag teams in these various companies, and they were almost as interesting, if not more so, than your main eventers. And New Day has that energy. New Day, to me, are some of the most interesting. They're some of the most interesting guys on the roster. There are times when I feel like New Day pretty much are the best thing on the show. So there's just some things missing in the tag team division, and it's namely that small stuff that I feel like the Dudley Boys will teach. So I think this is a good match for the New Day to go against the Dudley Boys. It's an honor in many ways. So Mr. Heartbreak Sid, I think I talked way too much on that. Where are you at with this tag team match? How are you feeling about it? Are you glad the Dudley Boys are back in WWE for one?
First nitpick of that, I wanted them to come out to their original Dudley Boys music from back in the day, but there's that. I don't think you mentioned who you were going for, actually.
How I had planned on doing this. I want to discuss like thoughts on the match, or just different thoughts concerning the match. And then you do it, and then we talk about predictions.
Oh, okay. In that case, I am excited for this match. Definitely. This is going to be a interesting match. I definitely think so. Going to see a lot of moving around, a lot of crowd interaction. I definitely think it's going to be a very enjoyable match. Really, I really do. I don't really have much to say about it other than it's high up there as far as matches that I'm looking forward to for the night. There's only about 2 real matches. I really have to think about the card for a second. Only 2 or 3 matches I'm actually really looking forward to. And that's wrong. That's all I have to say.
I think that's. I don't know if that's the only match. There's one match I'm definitely looking forward to the most, and when I say it, you're gonna be like, figures. So I'm gonna wait before I tell you. Yeah, the Dudley Boys versus New Day. That is certainly a match that I am looking forward to. Probably not above the other match that I'm going to talk about later, but it's up there. As far as like who I have winning the match, I mean, you got to think that the Dudley Boys will get the title at some point. But I think WWE is more into instant gratification now than they used to be. You know, they used to like make fans work for the wins. That way, when it happened, it was a bigger deal. But it seems like WWE is more like the second they think the fans want something, they're more willing to give it than they are less. So I feel like they're going to go ahead and give Dudley Boys the win. But my thing is, what's the point in a good face run? What's the point in a good face chasing after the title if the face wins the belt in their first try? And that's why I think New Day needs to win at Night of Champions and then lose it at a bigger pay-per-view. If not Survivor Series, maybe Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble would probably be a bigger show for the Dudley Boys to win the title at, if they can keep the feud hot until that long, which, considering it's the New Day we're talking about, they most likely can. So, yeah, I want the New Day to win the title, or to retain the titles, only because I don't want the Dudley Boys to win it yet. I want the moment to be a little bit bigger than just a Night of Champions pay-per-view. Where are you at?
Well, I actually want the Dudleys to win. And I'm going to say that the way I'm looking at this is, as far as the tag team division is going right now, it's all New Day.
Yes.
With a sprinkle of the Dudleys because they came back and who they are. I don't really see... New Day ain't going nowhere whether they win or lose. Because they're it right now. Furthermore, I don't really see WWE giving the Dudleys the belts at a more marquee pay-per-view. Because I feel like they would want to savor that for one of the current sets of talents that are on the roster that are not like, not old necessarily, but one of the more fresher tag teams that are on the spot right now. And plus, even if they don't want to, they can definitely keep a feud going if they want to between the Dudleys in New Day if the Dudleys were to win as opposed to if New Day wins. Because if New Day wins, then New Day wins. But if New Day loses, there's the obvious rematch clause, but also there's a reason for New Day to still want to go after the belts back. Also, if WWE didn't want, for whatever reason, New Day to have those belts without giving them to one of the crappier, fresher teams that's currently on the roster, because there really isn't any better team on the roster right now than New Day. The way they can do that is by having the Dudleys be the people who take the belts off of them, because that's a little bit more believable than what's currently on the roster right now. And if they wanted to, say, take it back to primetime or take it to Lucha Dragons, whoever they wanted to, they could then maybe have those guys take it off the Dudleys. But I think that's a little bit more versatile for the Dudleys to win now at a pay-per-view like Night of Champions. And then if they want a New Day to get the belts back, they could. I don't really know what's coming up next, but if they were actually keeping this to be an ongoing feud, there has to be a little bit of tug of war.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at it in that way. Ultimately, though, either way, I'm satisfied as far as how that match goes, and that's why I'm putting it. It's not the top match that I'm looking forward to, but it is one of those matches that I am looking forward to because I'll be satisfied either way. That is why I'm looking forward to it, just to see how it ends.
Okay. So we're only into our second match, and we already have our first split decision. The next match on the list is a match that I know you're going to love, so I'm going to let you top it off. I'm going to let you start it off before I go hard on it. Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev. First off, to the chat, are you guys understanding the Dolph Ziggler-Rusev feud? I just got to know. And then I'm giving it back to you.
I was waiting for you to talk.
I'm going to give it back to you, Mr. Heartbreak. Dolph Ziggler versus Rusev.
I was waiting for you to actually talk about this. I'm just tired of the attitude of superstars. Oh, here we go. I'm just tired of the attitude of superstars coming back. Win the title and after they run just up and leave. That's what I have a problem with WWE. Let's think about the kids. Get behind the older wrestlers. They become your favorite wrestlers and then just short leave. That's like Robin with their child. People just coming back for a lot of us. Never see them again. Not to cut you off there, but I do want to address that. Because I really think it depends on the situation. Because there's so many ways you can look at that. And a lot of people are looking at those at a negative situation. But in some of those cases, it was done like that for a reason. Whether we ultimately agree with it or not. And sometimes it did work out. Now granted, in some situations, I didn't think it was good ideas. But in some of the situations, it made a difference. And I think we need to stop looking at it from older guys are coming to take what the younger guys are working hard for. Because you got to remember, this is not like the first time in history that this sort of thing has happened.
Right.
It's happened before in the past. It happens. And it's more to it than just, older guys coming to crap on the younger guys. Some of it is done for money. Some of it is done for, just sake of whatever storylines they may be having going on at the time. I know we see a lot more of it nowadays, but there are certain instances where I'm like, yeah, this person shouldn't have came back. They shouldn't have had this person with the title. But, at that time, even if I disagreed with it, that's what WWE wanted to do. But not all the time should it be looked at as such a negative thing. Because a lot of cases, not too many of these people who came back and beat these persons and lost these belts were buried or even squashed, so to speak. Especially if we talk about Cena versus The Rock or something like that, for example. It wasn't like people were getting buried in some of these situations. So yeah, I think it just depends on the situation at hand. Because a counter argument could be made about that, about the NXT superstars versus the current roster superstars and getting over in positions that the jobbers haven't. I could make that argument based off the same metric. So I think we really have to think about why it's happening, besides the fact that we might not like it because we feel as though this person is taking this person's TV time or something like that. Because there's more to it than that. And I'm going to end it on that.
All right. Well, all right. Okay. Good points. Good positioning there. So that was actually really good. And while you were doing that, everyone that kind of had something to say about Rusev Ziggler. A couple of responses. Ryback Rules does not care about that feud. He does not understand it. No one cares about Rusev and Ziggler. Page 31 says. She also said they should have a mixed tag match and in the feud. Brian M., if there's no Lana, I don't care. And Ryback Rule says, if there's not ever a Lana versus Summer Rae, then I'm not listening to this useless feud. And Paige says, during the match, the crowd will be chanting, "We want Lana." So, I'm going to let you start us off on this match before I flame broil it. So, go ahead. Go ahead, because I'm going to get my flamethrower out and go hard on this match. But, go ahead. I'm going to spend a good amount of time saying what I need to say about this match.
It feels a certain type of way.
I feel a certain type of way.
And I do too, probably not as passionate. I will say this. I've been missing some of the main episodes of Raw. Namely because I don't have cable, because I'm not paying for cable. But, with that being said, Dolph Ziggler is like my favorite guy on the roster right now. But I'm with Ed and I'm with most of you guys. I really don't understand this storyline. I think it's become a botch line. You know, I don't even know what we really call this crap. Other than crap. I'm sick of it. I don't want to see a mixed tag team match, page 31, because I think that'll be equally just as bad as the whole storyline has been itself. At this point, I'd much rather see Lana versus Summer Rae, Ryback Rules, to be honest, because at least I feel like that would go more somewhere than Rusev versus Ziggler, because I've already seen Rusev versus Ziggler like 17 times beforehand. I think they're trying to change the course of the match, though, so hopefully they pull some type of twist. I'm thinking what may happen is that Lana is going to turn on Dolph. If they even want to salvage this in some way, somewhere, somehow, somebody needs to turn on someone or something needs to happen. Otherwise, this is just going to be a boring piece of squash, either person or win match. And it's getting to the point where I like Ziggler, but I don't know how much longer. I'm in the process now where I'm just like, I think Ziggler's leaving soon or getting released soon, something, because I just don't, at this point, there's not even stagnant. He's just falling back and back and back. It was like it started off very, very slow with hair stroking and saying his name. Then I felt like it got to a tip when he beat out Alberto Del Rio. That was his climax. And then there was a moment when he was with AJ.
That was his best. I think that was his best moment. Camzilla 101 has joined the Bad Guy Club. As the newest member of the club, you receive a welcoming package. It's going to contain a pair of sunglasses, a switchblade, and a leather jacket. So thank you for hitting the follow button. Welcome to the club. And remember to stay bad, because being bad is fun. Yeah, I think Ziggler, when he paired with AJ, was probably his best moment, I think. I really liked that group, and then when they added Big E to the stable, I thought that was awesome.
It was really good and dynamic.
Yeah.
Finally, you know, as far as the whole match goes, I can't really say that I'm that excited for it.
You're not excited for it?
I'm not that excited for it because, I mean, y'all can vouch for me. Y'all feel the same way I do, pretty much. But I can't really vouch for it. I mean, it's just like, I'm just ready for it to be over, too.
It's going to be shit, man. Well, maybe not the match itself, because the guy...
That's all I have to say about it.
They can put on good matches. Here's where I'm at with this. Like, I got to find a rifle or something so I can start shooting. Okay. There is a problem with the writing in this feud, because I don't really understand who's supposed to be heel and who's supposed to be face. And when I say that, I mean, obviously Ziggler is a face, but he's not done anything that's justified him being a face. Outside of maybe the initial, like when the feud initially started, when he was trying to convince Lana to come out of her shell and don't let, you know, Rusev bully her and, like, demean her. There you go. That was like a really good moment where, you know, Dolph Ziggler's being a face for face sake. But then as it went on, it's just gotten more and more convoluted. I'm more and more confused on who should who should be viewed as being good and being bad. And this past episode, this past Monday's episode, did not help the situation at all. Because you had Dolph Ziggler like give Summer Rae a gift, and it would have made sense if the gift was like a gag, like something to play mind games with them. But it was actually like some really nice jewelry or some shit. And you know, Summer seemed very appreciative of the jewelry. So now it seems like Summer Rae is going to turn on Rusev and join Dolph Ziggler. So now not only has Dolph Ziggler taken one girl from Rusev, he's taken two girls. And this was a guy, and when I say this is a guy, I'm referring to Rusev. This was a guy who 8 months ago was absolutely shitting on everybody on the roster. Anyone that they put him in a match with, he smashed them. He went hard on them. He went over every single cat that he wrestled. And now he is having his women taken from him for no reason other than the fact that I guess Dolph Ziggler's a playboy. And Rusev looks really weak, and he just looks really goofy, and this storyline has done more damage to him than it's done good. And if anything, like as far as this feud goes, if I had to like sympathize with one wrestler in this feud at all, it would be Rusev. Because like I said, outside of the stuff that he did with, you know, Lana at the beginning, where he blamed her for his losses to John Cena, he's not really done anything that has warranted why is it a good thing that Summer Rae is two-timing Rusev behind his back in favor of Ziggler? Like, what has Rusev done to Summer Rae that she didn't want him to do? Like, you know, and, you know, at first I thought, you know, like initially going into this feud, I thought, well, maybe Ziggler and Rusev, maybe neither one of these guys are supposed to look good. As like cynical as that sounds, maybe it's supposed to be a vehicle to establish Lana as a singles star, as a singles diva. Maybe this is why that feud's there. But she even seems to be a victim of really poor writing. And, you know, her being injured, I think she's injured and she's going to be out for a couple of months. You know, that doesn't help this feud at all either. Because while she's injured and, like, you know, sitting, you know, at home resting her ankle, Dolph Ziggler may or may not be fucking around with Summer Rae. Which, again, it paints everyone in a really ugly light because you have Rusev, who looks really weak. You have Lana, who looks really weak. You have Summer Rae, who is just there to be there. And then you have Dolph Ziggler, who's just, you know, smashing girls. And, you know, just being a dick. And just being a dick for the sake of being a dick. So it's a really bad feud. It's a really bad program, and I don't understand it. I don't like it. There's no clear writing in this storyline. It's almost like Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels back when they feuded over Sherry Martel in the early 90s. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, and my memory is very foggy on that. But they did something similar, and it was really convoluted too, because you weren't really sure who were you supposed to root for, who you weren't. Like, you weren't really sure who the bad guy was in that situation. It was very confusing. This is no different. You know, the only way I can really see this feud ending is with Lana pairing back up with Rusev. But I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like they've gotten so far in trying to build Lana as a face diva that they couldn't possibly be thinking about turning her heel again to have her manage Rusev. But that's the only logical choice that I could... That's the only thing that would really make this feud satisfactory, is if they got back together and Rusev went back to being a monster heel that Lana just kind of oversaw. And the other thing that I don't like about this feud, and this also kind of happened near the end of the John Cena feud, when Lana and Rusev first started getting built up, it was made to seem like Lana controlled Rusev. You know, she would do the crush thing. She would tell him to stop. She pretty much told Rusev what to do, and Rusev would respond to it. And then when they decided to turn Lana face, it was Rusev who was controlling Lana. And I didn't understand that change either. So, again, I'm just, like, sorely disappointed with this feud. It's poor. It's probably one of the worst written things WWE has done in a long time. And I don't feel like I'm exaggerating when I say that. I do feel like it's the worst. It really is the worst thing I've seen on TV within WWE's universe. And it's just a really poor feud that, you know, I just can't make heads or tails of it because I really don't understand, again, who I'm... Because, you know, you want to root for a character in any given feud. And I feel like there's no one to really root for in this feud. If anything, I'm rooting for it to end sooner rather than later. So, I mean, honestly, as far as who should win it, I don't even know if there's anyone who should win it. I mean, I guess if anything, Rusev needs the win, so maybe he won't look as stupid. You know, I think Paige had said something earlier about Rusev needing the win because he's been made to look really weak recently. And I feel like a win would go a long way for Rusev. But it's one of those situations where I don't want either one of those guys to lose because what do you do with Dolph Ziggler after that? Because this match should end the feud. There should be no more matches. But I know they're going to wrestle again, which sucks because you got to have the Lana Sun Ray match at some point. But that feud has got to end soon. And I'm hoping Rusev wins tomorrow night. That's like the only real viable option that you have. So that's everything that I have to say about that feud. I don't even know, like, Roddy, I seriously, like, legit, honestly do not know what you would do with either character after that feud's over. Like, like this is me, like, being, like, really, like, confused because I literally have no idea how you build those guys. Because there's nothing you can do with either one of those guys. Like, this feud has really hurt both of them. It's really hurt all four individuals. But the Divas are a little bit easier to work with because, I mean, pro wrestling fans in general have a short attention span. But when it comes to the Divas, they have, like, a super, like, 5-second attention span. So, I mean, those Divas could be entered into a title program literally next week. And I don't think most fans would complain, especially in regards to Lana. And this is the other thing that I want to say about the Divas in this feud. You have the Divas Revolution going on, you know, with Sasha and Charlotte and Becky Lynch and all of these Divas. But the fans seem to be more interested in what's going on with Summer Rae and Lana. What kind of shit is that? And there seems to be more intention going into that program than there is on their actual Diva program. So again, it's just a really weird storyline. It's odd. It's just super strange, and I'm not a fan of it. But, you know, Rusev really needs the win a lot more than Dolph Ziggler does at this point. So that's where I'm at. Mr. Heartbreak, I don't know if you actually gave a pick, so I'll let you do that.
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I don't know who you actually pick in this fight to win. Because I honestly don't see how anyone, period, benefits from either of the two winning or losing. Like, I ultimately don't see... This should be ended. I don't really know how you end it, though. And you can't just... See, here's the thing. You know, I know some of y'all said, you know, including you, that they need to put Lana back with Rusev. But the problem is, they systematically changed both of those characters. They're the opposites of what they were. So, you know, they're the opposites of what they were. How the Rusev and Lana that will be used, that are currently being used, that may be used tomorrow night, are not the Rusev and Lana that was going against John Cena earlier this year. Their personas of their characters are completely opposite as opposed to what they were. So they can't just simply put them back together and they be like they were. You know, in order to do that, it's going to take a while because as fans, you know, non-intelligent, non-smart or not, we know you just had them in a shitball program when they were acting the exact opposites of what they were. So we can't just go back to Monday night and this Rusev crush again. That is the problem, even if you want them to be back together, because you can't just do it like that.
Right.
That right there is the problem. Dolph has just been Dolph in his situation. Summer Rae does nothing or anything for this whole entire project. Dolph gains nothing from a win or a loss. Rusev will gain a little smudge of something. But really, he doesn't gain anything. Like, it's almost like it's pointless. That's what that is. When there's no reason to do something, and or it's pointless, really. This is the worst match that is on the card. And I don't even know who I want to win. But I think at the end of the day, Rusev more so has to win with Dolph. But I don't even know if it's because he's been made weak at this point, because him beating Rusev would make him looking strong. Like, it's just like a waste of time. Hopefully it gets cut from the card due to time. Since Lana might be injured any damn way, cut it from the card.
Yeah, that's, if Lana can't
cut it from the card, salvage that match, and just turn it into a match or something on Raw.
Yeah.
Just be done with it. Don't quit wasting, man.
I don't know why they just didn't do an intergender tag match at SummerSlam, and then just ended the feud then. I don't know why. I'm really surprised that the feud's still going. I was really disappointed that the SummerSlam match ended in a countout, because I was like, wow, they really should have just ended the feud tonight, because this is the worst thing on TV right now in WWE. So why are they... And not only that, not only did they continue it after SummerSlam, it looks like it's going to keep going after tonight, or after tomorrow night. It looks like after Night of Champions, that's still a feud that WWE has on their sites. And that's weird. And it's just, oh my god, it's an awful decision. My god, it's such a bad feud. I cannot talk about how bad that... There's literally nothing that... WWE, in the last 5 years, has not done a program worse than that. The only thing that comes close to it is maybe The Miz, John Cena, and The Rock. That's the only thing I can think of that was just as bad. This is just... It's not helping anybody. And, Rusev's the only person who could probably benefit from winning the match. But like Charles said, even that's, very minuscule. But I would rather take a little bit of something, because you could take that little bit and work with it, versus if Ziggler wins, it does nothing for him really, and it just further pushes Rusev into a really weird position where he looks like a corny goofball, and before you know it, he's going to be like the Punjabi Playboy Great Khali, where he's going to be coming out doing goofy shit and dancing around. And Rusev doesn't need to be that guy. He needs to be the wrestler that he is, because he can have great matches. He's had great matches with Cesaro. He's had great matches with Cena. He's had some fantastic matches. So doing this thing with him and Dolph Ziggler is not doing him any justice. And the same goes to Dolph Ziggler, a fantastic talent who is being burdened with a really bad storyline. So, I mean, gosh, let these boys, give these boys something better outside of that. So that I'm done. I'm done talking about that match. I knew I was going to spend some time shitting on it, though.
On to the next.
I knew it was. Next match on the list, and I think we've talked about this one a lot to begin with. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and their mystery partner versus the Wyatt family. I want to go ahead. One thing I want to do for you guys who did submit your predictions, for a bonus point, send me who you think the mystery partner is going to be. If you're right, you get an extra point on your list. So if you want to chance it, you're not gonna hurt yourself if you don't do it. But go ahead and if you have an idea of who the mystery partner is going to be, go ahead and list it. I don't have a lot to say about the 6-man tag, because it is what it is. There's not really much I can say about it, because the feud isn't necessary. It's not bad and it's not good. They've just not spent a lot of time developing the feud as a feud. They've more so focused on Braun Strowman being there and Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose needing somebody to equal out Braun Strowman. So I think there's more interest in who Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose are bringing in as their third partner than there is on the actual feud itself. So I don't really, I don't have a lot to really offer as far as thoughts and feelings into this match. Usually 6-man tag matches in WWE go one way or another. They're either really bad or they're okay. I've never seen a 6-man tag in WWE that I really liked. So I'm not expecting much from this one either, even if I do like the people involved. All right, Ryback Rules, have a great night, man. Thanks for watching. Stay bad. So I'm not really like excited for this match. I like the guys involved, but I just don't necessarily give a crap about the match. I'm more interested in who the third man is, and again, I think it's Brock Lesnar. That's going to be my final say on who the third person is. I think it's going to be Brock. And that's it. And I can't think of a single feud Bray Wyatt has won. So naturally, I don't think they're going to win this 6-man tag match. Where is Sweet Chilli guy? Eating. Hey, go ahead. What you got on this 6-man tag?
Well, I definitely like this match more than I like the one we just got to talk about.
Yeah.
And the story. And that's saying a lot. Really, it's not saying much at all. Because this one is almost like the 6-man version of the one we just got to talk about. Storyline is better, though, even though it lacks body and meaning, too. This is another prime example of a problem I've been talking about with Maddox and a few other people, a few other wrestling fans. Creative is struggling right now, and you can see it. And they got too many cooks in the kitchen, and too many people too many people who still been around since the Attitude Era writing bad stories. Yeah, it was okay, but I mean, it really hasn't been that great of a storyline itself. Really, Bray Wyatt's involvement in any of his storylines since his beginning of his downfall has been crap too. And that's the truth. He hasn't. We see it all the time. So as far as this match goes, this is my other moment. This would be my piss break. Now that Dolph Rusev match, that's my shit break.
You're gonna take a shit during the Dolph Rusev match.
Yeah. Now this would be my piss break. Because this I want to come back to quicker than that shit break.
Okay.
Shit break gonna be a little while. So yeah, I'm with Ed. I'm more excited about who the guest partner is than the entire damn match itself. And that's a shame. That means WWE ain't doing something right. And it's to the point now that if they don't deliver with a good team, a good partner, I'm definitely going to be taking my piss and doing whatever else, because that's what I'm looking forward to. Y'all hype this so much, and we know for the most part, especially us smart fans, how this is about to go down. So the only way you can really satisfy everybody is if y'all have a great partner, as well as y'all end this feud when it needs to end. Don't drag it on too long, because it needs to end after this. This is the dynamic that ends the feud, actually, whoever this partner is, because essentially this partner person is supposed to be the one who can help finally stop the Wyatts and their juggernaut. This is how this story is going to close. So it matters so much who this partner is to this pay-per-view, as well as to the storyline. Even if it doesn't really go nowhere but the Wyatts lose, which they probably will. Unless the Shield's partner is Eric Rowan. If the White Sheep is their partner, I'm calling this now, they are losing. If it's not, they are winning.
You think having Eric Rowan on the team is an automatic loss?
I think they will lose if he's the person on the team.
Okay.
I think that's the way I think that's how it's written to be. If he's going to be that person on the team, nothing personal against him, but if he's the person, if it's the White Sheep, they're going to lose.
Okay.
If it's not though, they're going to win. I also hardly believe though that it will be him. I don't think it'll be him, because that's too obvious. And I know WWE isn't about giving us what we want nowadays. They're more so about what's best for business. But I don't think they would be that obvious with it.
Well, does anyone want Eric Rowan?
Huh?
Does anyone want Eric Rowan?
I don't think so.
I mean, no offense, Eric Rowan, but
no one's even considering it. Like I said earlier.
That's why I feel like it's gonna be him.
Just to disappoint everybody.
Because WWE, they do this thing a lot, and this isn't the first time they've done it, but they do this thing where I don't know if it's intentional. I think they unintentionally draw interest around something that they weren't supposed to. I think the mystery partner was supposed to be just that, a mystery partner, that to have Eric Rowan come back, to repackage Eric Rowan, to re-debut him. But I think people got so interested in the idea of it, especially once Roman Reigns cut that promo, that suddenly the idea that this mystery partner could be a bigger name than people expect, it's really blown up the mystery partner to be something bigger than it should have. Because I remember almost instantly, you weren't the only person, but a lot of people had The Rock pegged as the mystery partner. And then there were a bunch of people who said stuff like Kane or The Undertaker. I've actually seen a few Undertakers. Undertaker to me is the least likely possibility, but I have seen Undertaker pop up. I've seen Undertaker mentioned a few times. So there are people who are even within that camp who think The Undertaker's coming back. And then you have me thinking that Brock fucking Lesnar, the guy who probably shows up 5 times a year, I'm thinking that Brock Lesnar is going to be the mystery partner. And, I'm not even thinking it as, a fanboy. I am legit convinced, and I have reasons backing my convictions up as to why it's going to be Brock Lesnar. And now WWE's in a position where it's more than likely going to be, Masked Kane. Or it's going to be Eric Rowan. And the problem is WWE doesn't know how to damage control. Because I feel like once they realize that there were people fully expecting a big name like Brock or Rock to come out, they should have just went ahead on Monday Night Raw and revealed the mystery partner just to go ahead and shut that shit down and have who they wanted to come out without really getting themselves any kind of negative feedback on Sunday.
At the pay-per-view.
Yeah, at the pay-per-view. If it ends up being Eric Rowan, shame on them, because they had plenty of time to reveal that it was Eric Rowan before the pay-per-view, and I feel like waiting until the pay-per-view to show him it's a bad decision. And I like Eric Rowan.
WWE, I didn't really touch that. WWE is smart. Ain't too many times where they unintentionally make a mistake. They know what they're doing. I really believe that more than likely it'll be Kane, even though I don't want it to be. And here's why. And you actually made me think about it by the points you were making. But if it were Eric Rowan, and I'm assuming WWE has intelligence, because I believe they're hyping this on purpose, not on accident. Because they wouldn't let Roman cut a promo like that, acknowledging that we've got a monster. They've got to have somebody at least good. Might that be great? Which is why I don't think it'll be The Rock or Brock, even though that would be nice. That would be great. WWE ain't about giving us. Remember what I said? Said it before. I said it again. WWE ain't about giving us what we want.
Right.
They're about giving us what we may like. Which is why we may like Kane. We don't want Eric Rowan. That could have been announced on Monday if that were the case. He wouldn't even be on this. We would have known Monday.
If it was Eric Rowan?
That would have been the damage control. He would have came out, they would have did that final face-off pay-per-view, and our partner is this, or however they do it, and then that news would have hit, and Rowan would have came out. Kane's been gone for a decent longer time, too. And since Eric Rowan would be the most predictable choice based off of the fact that a new Wyatt member is in the family with a opposite mask, that would be a typical guess. The only reason it's not being guessed, though, is because no one wants it. So, we know that they ain't going to give us what we want, a Brock or Rock. But what they will give us is something we may take and accept. Kane. Kane's going to be the person. I don't want it to be Kane's going to be the person. They bring Kane out there, like I said. I don't want to hear him speak. I don't want
to
get
better out of the mask. Yeah.
That look like chewed up bubble gum.
Yeah.
I want my big red machine Kane, not this big red monster corporate Kane.
Okay.
That's what I want.
So
plus, a believable monster, at least for this Strowman guy, has to at least be his size or bigger. That's another thing I just want to look back on. And I'm going to end it with that.
So you have winning the match. If it's Eric Rowan, it won't be the Shield. Or not the Shield. It won't be Roman Reigns.
If Eric Rowan is their partner, they will lose.
They will lose. Okay.
If he's not, they will win.
Okay. Okay, I'm down with that. I am actually down with that. I have Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and mystery partner winning because, again, I can't think of the last time Wyatt's won a feud. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I guess
I told you how they win. The only way they're going to win it is if Eric Rowan is their mystery partner.
There you go.
He doesn't, and this is another thing. Wyatt can't be killed. He's not a monster.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He's not a monster. That's the biggest fact. He isn't a monster.
Okay.
By degree of what they consider a monster. Eric Rowan ain't no monster, so he won't be the person.
Okay.
If the Beast Incarnate come out though, I'm gonna mark the fuck out when he takes Braun Strowman to suplex.
Oh hell yeah! My only issue with Brock, like now that I'm really thinking about it, my only issue is Brock's gonna ragdoll people, and I think that's gonna end up hurting the Wyatt family because some motherfuckers are going to Suplex City, and you ain't coming back from Suplex City. I'm sorry to say. So as big of a deal as they're making Braun Strowman to look, he is gonna take a suplex. He's gonna take an F5. And I think suddenly people are going to think, well, damn, Braun Strowman's getting thrown around. Nah, he's not that big of a deal. But I still think Brock Lesnar is the best choice. And yes, that is clear American. So let's get to the next match then. We still have 3 more matches to talk about on top of this, so 4 total. Nikki Bella versus Charlotte, Divas Championship. If Bella gets counted out or disqualified, she will lose the title. First off, I really like Monday Night Raw's match ending. I like the fact that they're continuing the storyline, and I like the fact that they got a cop-out ending because people were really hyped when they thought Charlotte won, and then got really upset when they reversed the decision, which, again, to me is compelling television, either way you look at it. Even if you think it's bad booking, I think it's compelling television when someone gets absorbed into the product that they forget that it's fake and they start yelling at their TV when a championship gets reversed. So that's one thing I'm gonna give people. I'm gonna give WWE kudos on because I like the ending. It was great. Charlotte is going to get her moment. With that said, because I'm gonna go ahead and give my result, I don't think it's gonna be on Sunday. I don't think Charlotte's winning the title on Sunday. As a matter of fact, I think Paige is going to turn heel and cost Charlotte the match. So that's my bold prediction for that match. The reason why I gave my feel, I don't see that going any other way, and there's not a lot to really share in regards to that match. So yeah, I think Nikki Bella wins, and I think she wins on account of Paige costing Charlotte the match. Now, Paige might not turn heel that night. They might do like an accidental, like, oh, I didn't mean to hit you, my mistake. But it's going to be the catalyst that turns Paige heel down the road. So, unfortunately for my Charlotte fans, and I'm one of them, I don't think Charlotte's getting the gold yet. Mr. Heartbreak, What you got? What you got? What are your thoughts?
Before I chime in on that, has Paige been healed yet?
Yeah, she was healed for a little bit during that AJ Lee stuff. Remember when they wrestled at SummerSlam 2013? No, 2014. Paige was heel and AJ was face.
Okay. I'm actually more excited for this match, this Divas match, than the other two matches. Charlotte is not winning, unfortunately. Although I would like her to win.
Yes.
She's not winning. Because WWE doesn't have faith in her. She's not winning. Also, expect something to happen. I don't know about the Paige turning dirty and interrupting the match because I don't really see that going nowhere in the long run for them, especially with them being divas. It's really sparse out here for them. A girl just being called up to NXT with one that's been on there for a minute, but if a diva's not in the title picture, she doesn't matter unless she's attached to a dude.
Pretty much.
So, because of the type of stipulation set up in this match, expect some bullshit. Whenever there's those kind of stipulations in the match, there's always that loophole. If you ever notice, whenever matches look like that, the purpose is to prevent loopholes, or prevent bullshit from happening. But there's always a loophole, at least from what I noticed in those kind of matches. Rarely does someone win clean and or dirty. And has Nikki surpassed AJ yet?
Yeah, she did. She did Monday. She's like 6 days ahead of AJ for longest title run. Yeah. She's already done it.
Okay.
Does that change your opinion a little bit?
No, because I'm still wondering about it. I'm still going to go with Nikki. I want Charlotte to win, though. Has WWE finally given the confidence and stop worrying about her looks and everything else? This match I'm most interested in because I don't really know the outcome of it, but it actually sounds exciting. Compared to the other two crap hole matches.
Oh man, that Rusev Dolph Ziggler match is going to be match of the year.
Definitely not. That's the worst match on the card.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the card and I agree, actually. I just looked, I was like, you're wrong. I'm like, wait, no, you're right. This is this is the worst match.
It's the worst match on the card, man.
It really is. It really is. That's a shame, too.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Nikki. But I will say that I'm still going to go with Nikki. I'm still stuck with Nikki.
You're still okay?
And that I like Nikki, and I think we'll have a little bit more of her. She'll lose it at the next paper.
Okay.
Because by then someone will be built up enough for them to make that person get the belt. Who knows? Could be the boss.
I would love to see Sasha Banks with the title. That would make my day. That would definitely make my day.
Make a lot of people's day. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right, Roddy says he has Charlotte winning, and then he says he has Paige turning on Raw the next night. That's not a bad idea because what they could do, they could honestly have, if they wanted Charlotte to win, they could have her win, have Paige turn heel, and have those two go at it for the title for a little bit. But I just don't think Charlotte's going to win the title on Sunday. I really don't know if Charlotte's going to win the title anytime soon. I want to see her get her moment, and I do think she will get it. I just don't think she'll get it at the cost of Nikki Bella.
because they have something. They have something going here, folks. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether you like the Bellas or not, they have someone that you are invested in. And when I say invested, I don't mean you like her, because when last time I used this and I said people are invested in Nikki Bella, everyone says no, she sucks, no one likes her. Well, that's what I mean. They're invested because they want her to lose. When I see stuff like things better than Nikki's title reign, that tells me that people are excited for her to lose. Whether it's like legit X-Pac heat where they actually don't like her, like they don't like, they really just can't stand her, or if it's actual like I'm absorbed in the program heat.
It's working.
It's working. They have something cooking here. So whoever does end Nikki Bella's run, they're going to get over in a big way. So I don't see Charlotte being that person, because they need to get the ball rolling with Nikki Bella. They need to milk this thing for all it's worth. Let her hold on to the title for a little bit longer. So yeah, I don't see Nikki Bella losing the title. I do have her winning that match, which gets us to our next title. I think all the next matches are all championship matches, by the way. Kevin Owens, Ryback, Intercontinental Championship. Oh my god, I'm about to hiccup. I don't know how this match came about. I don't know who, in the back, was looking at this thinking that this needs to be the next program for these two guys. But I gotta say it's interesting, and because I never really expected those two to really meet, especially for the Intercontinental title. So I gotta say, whoever had thought about doing Kevin Owens, Ryback, I don't know who it is in the back, but I gotta say, I gotta say, yeah, that's a good idea, because that not only to me, it's not really a feud you would think of when you think of feuds that people need to have. That's not one that comes to mind. But holy shit, it's good. It's like when I saw that, how come I never thought of putting those two in the ring together? I think it's gonna be a good match. A lot of people, Ryback's another guy people either like or hate. I don't think Ryback is a maestro in the ring, but he's good at what he does. He's a good brawler. He puts on convincing matches, and his moves look like they hurt. And that's the same can be said about Kevin Owens. So you got two big, beefy brawlers in the ring, trying to hurt each other. I'm pretty sure someone's gonna get hurt in this match, and I do mean someone's gonna get seriously. I think they're gonna go hard on each other. I think it's gonna be a really stiff match with a really hard hitting match, and I think it's gonna be for their size. I think it's gonna be fairly fast. So that's one of the matches I am actually looking forward to the most. I'm really hoping for a lot out of it. I want Kevin Owens to win, but it's one of those situations. Kevin Owens is one of my favorite wrestlers, as indicated by the t-shirt. I want Owens to win, but as much as it pains me to say this, because I know people that will be watching this are probably like, what the hell? I don't want him to win at the expense of Ryback losing the title, because I actually liked Ryback when he was in the main event scene back in 2013. Now, once I heard the CM Punk interviews, I was thinking, you know what? Maybe he doesn't need to be up there yet if he's legit hurting people. But he seems to have, I don't know, it seems that he's gotten a little bit better about it. Because I certainly don't see injury reports as much as I used to. And I don't hear him working guys as stiffly as he used to. And I don't think he takes personal liberties with people either. I think everything that he's ever done has been by accident. But I do think that those two guys will have a pretty entertaining match. And I want Owens to win. I would like Owens to win, but I would prefer Ryback to keep the title. Because I do want them to build him up into a main event level guy again. Because he was fun when he was in the main event feuding with CM Punk. So I want to see him back up there. And I think him holding onto the title for a little bit is a good way to do it. So, put me down for Ryback retaining the title.
Okay. Is that all you got?
That's all I got, man.
Okay. Alright, this match here is the match I'm looking forward to the most.
That's the match you're looking forward to the most?
Yep.
Really?
Yes. Because this is one of those situations where I'm not sure who I want to win, but that's a good thing because I like what's going on here. Either way, I would be ultimately satisfied, and I have nobody to cheer for or root for. What I will say is I'm like you. I want Kevin Owens to win the match, but I don't want it to be at the cost of Ryback's Intercontinental Championship. Unless this is going to be a continuing program for a little bit between the two, which I'm pretty sure that this ain't going to be a one and out, no matter how it goes down. But for the sake of it to go down and make sense, Owens needs a point. Ryback already has the point in being the champion. Plus, basically, Owens will be the face. Owen needs a big win. It's been a minute since he had a decent big win. And he doesn't have a belt anymore and whatnot. I mean, he has Cesaro. That's fine and everything. But to keep the momentum going for Owens, I think let's see, I'm also thinking about moving along. Because if Owens wins, I'm also seeing a point when he's talking. And verbally, Ryback can't go back and forth with him. So, because see, I also think about that too. I'm thinking about the next night on Raw. You know what I mean? It's a hard one, but I think this will be interesting. I also think that Owens is going to get off that splash, whatever that move is, that he tried to do 1,000 times on Cena and never successfully hit. He's going to get that move off on Ryback. Don't know how he's going to knock Ryback down. He's going to get that move off on Ryback. So that'll be nice to watch. But yeah, that can go either way, but I'm looking forward to that match. I think the most. I do just want to say on the whole, I don't really like this card on paper overall, though. I will say that as well.
Okay.
I don't really like this card on paper. That's the match I'm looking forward to the most. That's the match I'm looking forward to the most.
Okay. Interesting.
And that's all I gotta say.
Interesting. I'm curious. I do kind of want to know why you're looking forward to that the most.
You'll find out once I explain why I'm not looking forward to the other matches.
Oh boy, because I think we're about to have an issue. Because I think you probably figured out what match I'm looking forward to the most by now. It's Sting and Rollins, dog. You know I'm looking.
Is that what we're talking about next?
The next match is Cena Rollins. But I was just gonna go ahead and tell you the match I'm looking forward to the most is Sting and Rollins. Hey, what's going on, Brandon Players? Welcome to our pro wrestling talk show kind of thing. We're talking about Night of Champions right now. You missed some fun. We had a lot of really interesting conversation at the beginning, and now we're just doing a pay-per-view preview. So, Seth Rollins, John Cena. Man, I want to talk about it, but at the same time, it's like, I talked about this match a lot at SummerSlam. And I don't know if you were in my SummerSlam, because after NXT TakeOver, I did a SummerSlam prediction stream. And I talked about John Cena Rollins. Let's see. I think I talked about that match for 20 minutes. I don't want to talk about it again. They're going to have a good match. There's no questions asked. It was a good match, at SummerSlam. I didn't like the Power Ranger white that Seth Rollins came out with. I didn't like that. But outside of that, Seth Rollins looked good, and they had a great match. But I don't want to see it again.
You don't want to see Seth Rollins can't pull out the White Ranger. Huh?
I don't want him to. I don't want to see him in the white outfit, and I don't want to see those two wrestling again. I'm a one and done when it comes to John Cena matches, man. If you wrestle John Cena once, good. Don't do it again because it's gonna be pretty much the same. It's gonna be the same match. The moves are just gonna be in a different order. Nothing different happens in Cena matches, and that's coming from someone who likes John Cena. Because I went back and watched the 3 Kevin Owens matches, and I was like, you know what, man? The first one was good because we didn't know what to expect. And then the second and third ones were, I mean, they probably added one or two variations of moves to those matches, but they weren't as enjoyable for me. The first match was the best of that series. And I think it's been that way with every John Cena match that I've watched here recently. I just don't know, as good as that first match was at SummerSlam, I don't know how you can top the second match at Night of Champions. With that said, Rollins has got to lose one of his belts at Night of Champions, I think. And I would prefer it to be the World Heavyweight Championship and not the United States Championship. So I would like to see him beat Cena and keep that title. And I guess we can just go ahead and talk about both matches right now without having to split it up since Rollins is in both matches. I want Rollins to lose the World Heavyweight Championship to Seth. I want him to lose it to Sting. I want Sting to walk out with the belt, and I don't have any logical reason other than I'm a Sting fan. I like Sting as a kid. That's a childhood memory. I complain about part-timers a lot, and I know not necessarily complain. I don't like when part-timers come over and go over on guys, and especially guys who have been there for the while, and they come in there, beat them, make them look bad. Sting is the one exception. And I think it's mainly because Sting doesn't mind putting guys over. And I feel like a lot of old school guys tend to have an issue with putting over people. Mick Foley is the exception to that rule. Mick Foley, he always came back to put guys over. And Sting's been like that. But I'm just ready for Sting to have his WWE moment. Because outside of wrestling his first WrestleMania, he's not had one. And even if his title reign is like an hour or 10 minutes, because I do think Sheamus cashing in on Sting is a very real possibility, I want him to win it. I want to see him with the title in his hand or on his shoulder or around his waist for however long that he has it. So my two picks for those matches, like I said, Rollins has got to leave with one belt. I don't like the idea of him winning both belts. If he does, I'm not going to be super upset. I just think tomorrow is a good chance for him to lose one of them. And I would prefer it to be the World Heavyweight Championship. Have him beat Cena. Have him hold on to the United States Championship. Let Sting rock the World Heavyweight Championship. Or hell, let Sheamus cash in and rock it for a little bit. That would be cool. But then there is that conflict, because I know earlier in the stream I said that I do see Seth Rollins beating CM Punk's title run of 434 days or however long he held it for. So
I want you to acknowledge that too.
I don't know. So that's my conflict, because I want Sting to win the title. I think it's just me being a Sting fan. I literally have no real valid reason for why Sting should win that match, other than just saying, I like Sting. That's pretty much it. I like Sting. Sting should have the belt. But, logically, I still want to see Seth Rollins I want to see him surpass CM Punk. That'd be really interesting I like lengthy title runs. I think lengthy title runs mean more, especially when the guy gets beat finally. So yeah, give Rollins a good, healthy run with the belt, in my opinion. And that's all I gotta say.
Okay. So this is my second match I'm looking most forward to. And that match is Sting versus Seth Rollins. Because I don't know what the outcome is. I will tell you what, though, what I think. I think Sting is... he's going to lose against Seth Rollins and or this match is going to see what I'm thinking about is this is what I'm really thinking about.
Hi Brandon, I'm looking at chat. I see you. Seth is gonna beat Cena, but not Sting in my opinion. And spoiler, Sting is alive. Okay, continue.
So, I'm thinking of if Sting were to win, what happens next. Now, everybody who suggests this thing win, mostly everyone's saying that Sheamus may cash in because no one believes this thing will hold and maintain the belt. For the most part, everybody who's picking this thing to win, that's the constant, that he won't hold and maintain the belt. So let's think about that for a second. That would suggest that Sheamus would have to cash in, and either Seth Rollins retains somehow still, or Sheamus wins the belt. Now, if Seth Rollins retains still, and somehow Sheamus does cash in, and we just wasted a cash in and a Sting match. Both of those won't happen. Both of those won't happen in the same match. So one of them has to happen, and it's more logical that Sting would win than Sheamus would try and cash in. I don't see all of that happening in one wallet unless someone won first. Because if you try and cash in during the match, now wouldn't it become a triple threat then?
I mean,
How they work it nowadays.
I think they work that cash in with how it fits them. So essentially, it's one of those situations where, if they want it, it's however they want to do it. So if they want it to be a triple threat, then they'll have the cash in work.
That's happened before too, where basically it has became a triple threat match with that person involved. It's happened like that before, but it's also happened before, just like spur of the moment. I'm just gonna get it here, and then go kick boom. So here's the thing.
Over yawning and shit, man. You get me tired. We'll wrap up after he just did a break dance.
Do people really want Sting to win the belt just so Sheamus can cash in and beat him? Like, I still don't feel like he gets his... If anything, that's like a ha-ha to me, the way I look at that. Like, really? Y'all want Sting to get the belt for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes just so Sheamus can then come in, bro, and kick him, and he still loses at the end of the night?
Man.
And or Seth Rollins still wins at the end of the night?
Imagine the heat Sheamus would get if he cashed in on Sting, though. He would become...
And was successful.
He would become an overnight heel. Because the problem with Sheamus right now, Sheamus just isn't interesting. He's a good wrestler. He's a very capable wrestler. But I just don't think the crowd, generally speaking, is interested in watching him. If you have him cash in on Sting in one swoop, Sting has a hard-fought match with Rollins, Sheamus comes in, takes the title, and leaves. And he doesn't even taunt. It would be even better if Sheamus won it and left. And just left Sting in the middle of the ring. Sheamus comes out next Monday to a wave of boos. And it would be perfect. That would be like the perfect thing.
WWE's going to have heat too.
Oh, they are. There's going to be a lot of negative press for WWE. They're going to catch a lot of heat for doing it. But damn it, it makes the most sense.
No, you're right. It makes sense from that standpoint. For Sheamus' sake, it does. Not really for Sting's at the end of the day. It's still the same. It's still the same thing. It's just a different method of doing it this time. But that's another thing that I'm looking at. Who the hell is Sheamus gonna be feuding with? I feel like I want Sting to win the match, but like to me, I just don't see him winning. Oh, this is another thing, because I also believe Seth will still be the champion for a minute. Seth losing the biggest belt and being reduced to a United States champion,
that would hurt him. It would do some damage.
The only way I see that working, way I really see that working and being believable is if they're going to be setting up for Triple H versus Seth Rollins.
And I think that's going to happen.
And I think they're, like, to me, I think they're going to set up the Seth Rollins Triple H feud with Sheamus' cash-in. Because I think eventually Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins is probably going to turn face, which Brandon Plays did say, like, imagine Seth turning face. Seth is most likely going to turn face. And I think he's going to do it by going at odds with Triple H, by not listening to Triple H, by doing things that Triple H doesn't want him to do. So what Triple H does is he has Sheamus use his briefcase to take the title away from Sheamus, or to take the title away from Seth Rollins, as a reminder to Seth Rollins that Triple H can make him or break him. And I think that's what sets up the feud. That's like me, like, looking at it ideally. So that's how I'm looking at, like, okay, ignoring Night of Champions and ignoring my want of Sting to win the title. If you want to go ahead and turn Seth Rollins face, you have to have Triple H. Triple H has to set up Sheamus' cash-in. Triple H has to orchestrate a scenario where Sheamus can come out and take the belt off Rollins, thus turning Rollins face. I just don't know when they're going to do it or how they're going to do it. But going back to Night of Champions and what I want from Night of Champions, I want Sting with the damn belt. Sting should not be losing.
Even if it's for 10 minutes.
I mean, that would honestly be a great scenario for me personally, because you forget that I also like Sheamus a lot. So
I know you do, but
you know, not only do I get one person that I love with the belt, I get a second person that I'm a fan of with the belt too. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And yeah, I just talked about the Rollins face turn, Brandon. And then Brandon also said Sting wins belt, Sheamus cashes in, and Seth pedigrees Sheamus, and Sting keeps the belt. I don't know how that would work, though. If Sheamus already cashed in and won the belt, they wouldn't have a rematch that night. Unless Sheamus tried to cash in and Rollins stopped the cash in. Thus, I could see that also starting a feud. But I do agree with you, Heartbreak. I think if you take the world title off Rollins but keep the United States title on him, that definitely makes Rollins look a bit weaker. But
you know what? That does make him look weaker. Here's another thing. John Cena. What if Seth loses to John?
I don't know. I don't even know why you would ask that.
How is this match? That's another thing. Which one is going first?
I mean, I'm hoping Sting and Rollins closes the pay-per-view. But knowing my luck, Sting and Rollins will probably be the first match on the pay-per-view.
If it doesn't, bro.
Why wouldn't you have the show close with Sting?
I mean, no, I'm just saying, it's not like, hey, Undertaker ain't, it's been times when Undertaker hasn't closed the show if he was supposed to.
Man, name the last time Taker didn't close a show on a non-WrestleMania pay-per-view.
Well, he wasn't on a non-WrestleMania pay-per-view, except SummerSlam.
Didn't they close Bragging Rights? I think Bragging Rights was the last non-WrestleMania show that he wrestled on.
Who the hell he won against?
Wasn't it a Buried Alive match with Kane? Because, like, that's why I said Wade Barrett and Kane at that WrestleMania. Because Nexus came out during that match, and they buried Undertaker alive for Kane. Which is why I thought they were going to do Wade Barrett and Undertaker at the next WrestleMania. Hey, what's going on, Kid? Paulo Savage also joined the Bad Guy Club. As the newest member of the Bad Guy Club, you receive a welcoming package, and it's going to contain a pair of sunglasses, a switchblade, and a leather jacket. So thank you for joining the club. Remember to stay bad, because being bad is fun. That's like a really big screw-up if Sting Rollins doesn't close the pay-per-view. I don't think I would be, like, upset, like, ranting, but I would certainly be like, why? Like, why isn't that ending the show? And that would pretty much confirm to me that Sting's not winning the world title either. If, like, I turn on that pay-per-view and Sting comes out in the middle of that pay-per-view, I know Rollins is coming out with that title, which means Rollins will most likely use the United States title.
See, but here, you know what? Man, I don't see Rollins. This is another thing, dude. I don't see Rollins being the United States champion.
Why not?
Unless I ain't done yet. I don't see Rollins being the United States champion. Unless he's the other champion too. I just don't see. I'm seeing Rollins just being reduced down to United States champion. I don't see that. With Sting and maybe Sheamus get away with that. But like, I don't know, man. The odds certainly. I don't think. Oh man, it's like Sting may win tomorrow. It's definitely possible. But what I'm thinking is, man, Sting ain't gonna be able to have no title. I know it. So what I'm thinking, what I'm trying to decide between it is WWE gonna do a bullshit cash in cop out, so Sting doesn't have to do that run, or is Seth is with But then again, I'm trying to think anybody would cut the Seth Rollins.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Realistically speaking, Rollins should retain both belts. But what I want is, it's kind of like the Kevin Owens Ryback situation. I want Owens to win, but I don't want him to win at the expense of Ryback losing the title. So going to the main events, I want Sting to win the title, but I feel like it's very essential that Rollins holds onto the belts. So I'm gonna pick what I personally want. So my picks for those matches are Sting winning the World Heavyweight title and Seth Rollins retaining against John Cena. I could also see Sting winning the heavyweight title not winning. I could see him winning that match by disqualification. I could see Rollins getting counted out or attacking the referee. I could see some kind of foul play happening in that match to give Sting a DQ win without giving him the title, which could then set up a one-on-one match at Hell in a Cell that Rollins does win. I don't know though. And it looks like Brandon Play said he doesn't like what they're doing to Seth Rollins, making him a baby when he talks. And I told you that I've said in a couple of the pro wrestling forums that we post on, I'm not a fan of Seth Rollins as his character as he stands. I don't know why they went the route of making him a coward when he was billed as the architect of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the longest time. You can't go from being billed as the mastermind of one of the better stables that have come out in a while to suddenly wanting to run away from every fight. And then I know people say, well, that's just a heel being a heel, but that's not a heel being a heel, because there are different ways you can build a heel. When you book all of your heels the same cookie cutter, I'm afraid to fight, I run, I complain every time I get in a match. Well, now you've kind of created a stagnant character, because what is he doing that's different from any other heel that you've made like that? I like the idea of a rated R superstar. A guy who doesn't cheat to win because he has to cheat to win. He cheats to win because it's available to him, and he likes doing it. And that's what made Edge such a fun character. Because Edge cheated to win, not because he needed to, but because he could. And it was kind of cool. And I thought that they were going to do that with Seth Rollins since he was the architect. They were going to make him be a thinker's wrestler, a wrestler's wrestler, who, used his wit to win matches. And they didn't do that. They just kind of turned him cookie cutter, and I don't like that. So I would like to see Seth Rollins. I would like to see a shift in his character at some point. But, he's still one of the best wrestlers they have in the company, so I'm not going to complain all that much, I guess. But yeah, those are my picks. Rollins to beat Cena, Sting to beat Rollins, if not to win the title, at least by DQ. Those are my final picks. And I have nothing more to add to the show. I do think the show overall is going to be solid. I don't think the card's bad. There's only really one match I'm not interested in, and that's Rusev Ziggler. Outside of that, the rest of the pay-per-view looks like it's going to be like pretty much on point. It does look like it's going to be a very enjoyable card. So I'm looking forward to watching it. I don't know if I'll be watching it Sunday night or not. I might watch it Monday morning before I go to class, which actually I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, like I said, I'm really feeling it. I'm really feeling this card. So that's where I'm at. If you got anything you want to go ahead and add to it, Heartbreak, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream and get off of here. That fool fell asleep. He totally fell asleep. LOL, that's the first ever on the Bad Slate. That's the first ever on Talking Heads. But alright, guys. I'm Bad Guy Maddox. You're watching the Bad Guy Maddox Twitch TV stream. I'm going to go ahead and finish off this match. We'll watch the rest of this, and then I'm going to get off. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the Heartbreak Sid Twitch Skype call. So it was fun. Brandon plays. I'll still be in here, so if you feel like, talking with me, go ahead and discuss with me. Give me 1 second. Like the win SS match should be like that. Should be like that every time. Holy shit, I agree. I definitely agree with that. You should. The match is... Wow, did Tyler Breeze just win the United States title? It's 2:42, almost 3 a.m. I already, man, I'm about to get off. I can't believe he fell asleep. Neither can I. Yeah, I'm about to get off myself, man. Get me some rest here. So, yeah, I guess, we'll watch, Night of Champions. I'll catch that either tomorrow night or Monday morning. I haven't figured that out. But I am looking forward to it, guys. Let me know, like I said, if you want. Don't forget to inbox me your pay-per-view predictions. Whoever predicts the most matches correctly, I'm going to have some kind of gift for you guys. So if you haven't sent me your Night of Champions predictions, do not hesitate to send those to me in my inbox. Even if you don't watch pro wrestling, send them anyway. Make an educated guess. I mean, you're not gonna get hurt if you get them wrong. And I mean, most of the matches are one-on-one matches anyway, so you have a 50% chance of getting it right. Don't you like those odds? Because I sure in the hell do. Those sound like great odds. But alright, guys. Again, if you want to play the prediction game, send your predictions in to my inbox. Just message me on Twitch. Don't send me a private message. Go to my profile. Go to message. Send me a direct message to my inbox or direct message me on Twitter. I'm dying to hear your results. Until then, guys, I will see you at the next stream. Brandon Plays, like I said, you can message me on Twitter, like a direct message, or you can mention me on Twitter, or you can actually send me an actual message on Twitch. You have to go to my profile on Twitch on a PC, and once you go to my profile, there should be an option to send me a private message. If you do that, I'll be able to see it, and I'll tabulate it. So, guys, have a great night. Thank you for watching the Bad Guy Maddox Twitch TV cast. It was fun. I enjoyed talking pro wrestling tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Remember to stay bad, because being bad is fun. Take care, folks. I'm logging out. Man, I'm interested so I can power my headset. Ah! I'm out of here. Oh, 7 Wags just got back. I'm sorry, 7 Wags. I'm leaving. Submit your predictions to my inbox, 7 Wags. I'm doing a Night of Champions prediction game. Whoever predicts the most matches correctly wins a prize. So, send a message to my private message me or message me on Twitter with your predictions for tomorrow night. and I will let you know. You know, whoever gets the most predictions gets a bonus point. And, whoever gets the most predictions gets a prize of some sort. Probably nothing big. It'll probably be something small. I'll decide later. And also, there's going to be a bonus point. If you can guess who the mystery partner is for Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns correctly, you get an extra point added to your overall score. That's going to be kind of like a tiebreaker thing because I really doubt people are going to predict the same person. Yeah, you can do it before Night of Champions. If you do it when the pay-per-view starts, though, I don't care if you do it during the first match or the second match. If you do it when the pay-per-view starts, if I get it anytime after 7 o'clock Central, you're disqualified. Because I will consider you looking at the pay-per-view to help you decide who wins matches. So, hit me up, guys, with your answers. Hopefully I hear from you guys tomorrow. Until then, I'll see you later. You guys sleep well. And as always, stay bad, folks. Take care.